Hey everyone, welcome to day 4 of the Chiro AI Summit. It is so great you've made it this far. Fantastic. Day 4 is also going to be a magical day. Remember, day 1, you hopefully learned something about EHRs and AI. Day 2, you learned hopefully something about the different marketing programs and AI. Day 3 was all about the clinical results that you can get and achieve using AI. Today is a special bonus day, day 4. Please enjoy today. It is a phenomenal program to help understand what our leaders of our profession are thinking, saying, and doing as it relates to AI and our profession. Well, I want to welcome you to one of our great speakers today for day 4, our leadership program. That's my good friend, Dr. Gilles LaMarche. She's the vice president at Life University. Really been a part of the evolution of making sure that Life University stays as great as it's always been. So please enjoy what Gilles is sharing about how he's using AI and how he's thinking about using AI and how he would be using AI if he were in practice today. Please enjoy our great conversation that I had with my great friend, Dr. Gilles LaMarche. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session of the Chiro AI Summit. I'm Dr. Jason Deitch, and of course, I'm here with my great friend, Dr. Gilles LaMarche. Gilles, please, you're vice president of everything at Life University. What exactly is your title? And thanks for being here. I'm excited for our conversation today to talk about what you are up to using AI as one of the leaders of our profession, let alone Life University. Give us your title, give us what you're up to, and let's talk about how you see AI shaping our profession, healthcare, and the future of healthcare moving on.
Well, thank you. And thank you for inviting me to be part of this great summit. I know that it is the beginning of something exceptional. Probably like most people in the world, a few years ago, I thought AI, how's that going to fit into chiropractic? And of course, I've learned very quickly, having adopted some AI tools 13 months ago, literally in November of 2024, I started using AI. And at the suggestion of my wife, I took a course with her, and I was like, wow, I can use this, and this in this particular area of my life at the university and in my personal life. And it's been like a game changer. It's been a game changer because what I discovered when people say, well, you can train your AI tool, I had no idea what that meant. What I discovered is that my AI tool that I currently use literally speaks with my personality. Right? It took a number of letters to write, etc. It took a number of understanding, if you like, of how to prompt AI to produce what I wanted to produce. But I will tell you that AI produces everything and anything that I could produce in probably 1/100th or less of the time, which then allows me to be more productive and accomplish a lot more. And it does it when needed. It does it with proper references. And so if I want to write a letter to a politician, for example, and I want to reference some of the great things that they have done in higher education, because I want to build a relationship with them and I want to see how they can potentially help us here at Life University, it does all the research for me. So I write a paragraph that's maybe, for a really in-depth letter, I write a paragraph that's maybe 8 or 10 lines, not 10 sentences, 8 or 10 lines. I write a paragraph with very specific prompts, like I'm Dr. Gilles LaMarche, Vice President of University Advancement at Life University. So I'm answering your first question that I had not answered yet. And, please write a letter of thanks to Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for all the work that he's done since September 1st until December 1st, 2025. And in particular, I'd like you to highlight some things that decisions that have been made as it relates to complementary healthcare. That could be a short prompt query right there.
Wow.
And then I say to the AI tool, write it in a professional, yet friendly and compassionate manner, because I'm friends with Bobby. So I want to write a professional letter, but I don't want to write it that it's impersonal. So it's got to be professional, but at the same time, I want it to be personal. And I'll say sometimes like write 3 major accomplishments that could potentially affect higher education in healthcare. And I hit click. And then I write at the end, I write, ask clarifying questions. So if the AI tool hears what I'm asking and said, but how about this? Is this what you want, or is this what you want? So when I put ask clarifying questions at the end of my prompts, sometimes it asks me some clarifying questions. And then I answer the questions, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it might be. And it's as simple as putting 1 period, give the answer, 2 period, give the answer, 3 period, give the answer, hit send again, and it produces this absolutely amazing document, or amazing letter, amazing email. I could say write it as an email format, write it as a letter format that's going to be sent on Life University letterhead. I tell it exactly that, and it creates it. And and it always asks a couple of questions. Would you like this instead? Would you like to add this? Would you like to add that? And sometimes I say, yeah, I want to add that. So could I do that by myself? Absolutely. How long might it take me to do that and find the references that I want to quote? A few hours at least. How long it takes me to do it on AI? 3 to 5 minutes. Give some thought to what you want your prompts to be. Boom, write the letter. And then you send the letter on letterhead, right? Hand signed. It's done professional. It's done the right way. And I've done hundreds of letters like this. I mean, and I realize he didn't write the letter, but I wrote a letter to the president of the United States and got a response to my letter and the questions that I asked in the letter, right? I've done the same thing with Bobby, got responses. I sent another letter to someone that I've been wanting to meet for a long time. That's part of the MAHA movement that I had not had an opportunity to meet. And I was in a room in New York City a few weeks ago, and he walked in, not part of our traditional Life University audience or part of the natural chiropractic audience. So he walked in and he stood there, and I could tell he wasn't sure, did he know anybody? So I walked up to him. He doesn't know me from Adam. But I said, I'm Gilles LaMarche. I'm the guy who sent you a thank you letter on Life University letterhead about 2 months ago. He said, oh, that was a beautiful letter. I remember reading it. Thank you so much. And he referenced something that I mentioned in the letter.
Interesting.
So that was a building of a relationship that started, and we spent the next 45 minutes talking to each other. And now last week, I can't remember, it was last week sometime, he actually texted me and said, I'd like to invite you to an event in Washington, D.C. next Monday. Could you come? And off I am going to Washington, D.C. on Monday. So I've used the AI. That was one of the ways I've used AI. I also have a lot of reading that I have to do. And I'm, very inquisitive. I'm always learning the new trends in fundraising, et cetera. A lot of documents come out. Sometimes they're a page or two that are easy to read, but sometimes you get a document that's like 150 pages. Well, I take that document as a PDF, I drag it into the AI tool, and I ask it what I want. Please write an executive summary, highlight the salient points and give brief remarks on each point, blah, 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 boom, 2-pager. Now I'm looking at it, I was like, whoa. Now I just learned something in less than 5 minutes that would have taken me 2 to 3 hours. So I found that because of the transfer of knowledge is continuous, there's so much stuff out there, I'm able to focus it. I'm able to narrow it, get it down into a funnel of something that's palatable, that's easy to understand, that makes it easy for me to learn, and I continuously get to learn more because of it. And so what I did when I took that course, I actually invited my assistant to take the course as well, my executive assistant. Much younger, less than about a third my age. And, they learn a lot faster than we do. And so from there, she has now learned to use multiple AI tools, does some of that work, but has AI producing anything from a flyer to a pamphlet to a design, to at least, a draft design in moments. And so what I've discovered is that we have become more productive. We've become more efficient, and we've become more effective. So I don't know a chiropractor on the planet, whether it's a single doctor practice or a multi-doctor practice, who could not become more productive, more efficient, and more effective. And so resistance, my friends, is futile. You should stop resisting and start learning. And as you apply it, because I looked like, how would I be using this in practice? Oh my gosh. All my doctor notes would be taken through an AI tool. Because I love to do written report of findings, which very few people do because they say too time consuming. You can now do a written report of findings simply by recording your examination and having it create the notes, obviously, then taking those notes and preparing somewhat of a draft for a narrative that you can then create as a doctor-patient communication that they can then share out with their community. But then if you decide that you want to do PI work, you should be using AI to do all your narratives and all your reports to the attorneys that all of us, certainly when I was in practice, I didn't do very much PI, but if you were a practice member in my practice and you had a car accident, I wouldn't send you somewhere else. I would take care of you through that PI incident. But it's the stuff that we hated, right? The files would pile up on the left side of your desk, and finally you say, okay, I've got to go spend all day Saturday, all day Sunday doing these narratives and writing these reports, blah, 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 blah. I wouldn't have to do anything of that. Like if I was in practice now using AI, it would do it all for me. And then, of course, importantly, read everything before you sign it, because I have to make edits sometimes to my documents. And the other thing I would suggest, do not use, to write important letters or important documents, do not use free AI tools. Pay for an AI tool that only uses credible, true references. Because if you use some of the unpaid AI tools, they just search everything and they may create references for a document that you're writing that have not been vetted. And therefore, they're not a real reference. They are a speculation, or they're a thought, or they're an article that somebody wrote, but it's not like scientifically proven evidence. So I'd say invest a little bit. The tool that I've learned to, I don't know if I've mastered it, but that I use every single day, that I've gotten quite good at using, is Perplexity. So that has become sort of my AI tool of choice currently. As you know, and you were one of the invited guests who accepted the invitation, a few months ago, I invited 20 colleagues that I highly respect, that to me are respected across the nation and across the globe, to be members of the newly formed Life University College of Chiropractic Advisory Board. And the first task of that board was to provide information in a face-to-face meeting here on campus, actually in the same building where I'm sitting right now. We spent an entire day talking about what do chiropractors, chiropractic students, need to know so they graduate from Life University practice ready. What does that mean? Well, what we hear from the doctors that host our interns when they do what we call part of our PEAK program, sort of a community-based internship outside of the institution, what we hear from them is that, wow, your students are amazing. They're fantastic clinicians. They're knowledgeable. They're great diagnosticians. They're great adjusters. And the majority, thrive on telling us how excited they are, and they just love getting Life University interns. But what we knew, and I think it's known across all chiropractic institutions, is that our students don't graduate business ready. Right? They don't understand the principle of business. Do we have business course? Yeah, we do, but they were not part of our core curriculum. So as the academic department was rewriting, the College of Chiropractic administration was rewriting the curriculum, and we've launched a new curriculum, they've discovered they cut out a lot of the fat stuff that was unnecessary. Number one, that's not required by the CCE. That's not really required for a great chiropractic educator. There was still some stuff like that being taught. They removed all that, and they discovered that they had the opportunity to create 3 business courses that would be taught over 3 different quarters. That's a lot of information that could be learned. And so we invited people like you, the 20 doctors that came to spend that day with us, to share information. we broke up in 4 groups, and I created what I called the seed document. So I said, what do we want to know more of? And I created a draft document. I took that draft document, I dropped it into Perplexity. I said, you are Dr. Gilles LaMarche, Vice President, University Advancement, Life University. If you were to create a business curriculum that would guarantee that your students graduate proficient in X, Y, Z, and I broke it all down. Lease negotiation, banking, I broke it all up, blah, 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 blah. What else would you add to this curriculum? And then it added a couple of different things. And then I took all that, I packaged that a little bit tighter, and I said, take this, please, and create a table of contents for what will be converted into a manual that will be called the Life University College of Chiropractic. On myself, my went blank for a sec. The Life University College of Chiropractic System for Professional Success. So that's what I titled the To Become workbook and book. And so I did that. And so what I presented to you and the other 19 doctors that were there was this seed document. And then, as you know, we sent you into 4 different groups. And I was like, okay, go negotiate. Go negotiate what needs to be in this book. Give us the best of the best of the best of what you've got. And so in each group, we had one of our College of Chiropractic administrators who served as the note taker, if you like, and also to keep the conversation on track. Because as you know, and you made that comment early on, there's going to be a lot of big personalities in that room. There's going to be a lot of big egos in that room. And there were, but you would have never thought. Because everybody collaborated. Everybody saw this as, wow, we could change the face of chiropractic. And so I know that at least one administrator recorded everything using an AI tool and then submitted all his notes to me in a beautifully laid out fashion that was so simple. And then I got notes from 3 other administrators, and I've processed all that. I've combined all that using an AI tool. I've combined all that, and now I have a full layout. That's where the stage I'm at now. I'm a little bit beyond that. I've got a full layout of all the ideas that came, and if anything was duplicated, I asked it to take out all duplication. You removed all duplication. So I have 13 chapters that are completely laid out, and some with complete sections that are full of like phenomenal information. So at this point, I've completed the introduction section. I've completed chapter 1. I've completed chapter 2, draft again, but completed. And I will tell you that I've spent probably 50 hours. That's more than a 500-hour project. So where I'm at right now, that would typically have been more than 500 hours. When I was at Parker and I edited Dr. Jim's Parker System for Professional Success book that he had written back in the 60s, I spent hundreds of hours editing, making more modern a book that had already been written. And now I've spent about 50 dedicated hours, and I've accomplished about 500 hours worth of work. So I've used it that way. I've been investigating other tools because what I want as one of my legacies is really to have students graduate practice ready. I was fortunate. I was introduced to Dr. Jim Parker when I was a junior in chiropractic college. He became my mentor. I did what he told me to do, and the rest is history. I was successful in practice, but I didn't invent the wheel. But I followed a process that I got taught, and I followed all parts of that. So everything from mindset to how you prepare yourself to intention, all of that is at the beginning of this workbook that we're creating at Life University. And then there'll be a section on lease negotiation and banking and, day 1, day 2, report of findings, consultation, examination, all that, obviously in proper sequence. And so I've been investigating, and there's a tool that I discovered, and I believe you're going to have that group as one of your guests, but there's a tool that I discovered where you could record, let's say, your consultation, take it, dump it into this AI tool. After the AI tool has been given all the parameters that should be in a thorough consultation, dump yours in and said, how well did I do? What could I have done better? Then you could do the same thing with your examination. Then you could do the same thing with your report of findings. Then you could write a report of findings if you want. You can put that AI tool, and it will be like immediate time. So the students, as they are learning, as they are practicing, I know some of you don't like the word script, but the reality is we all have scripts. So whether the scripts that you've memorized or scripts that you've developed, I've talked to a doctor that put his information into one of those AI tools, and he said, I'm a great doctor. He's extremely successful, and said, I've been doing this for like more than a decade. And he said, and the AI tool reminded me of some of the things that I forgot to do in my report of findings. Oh my gosh. So that's one of the things I'd like to have available to our students and to implement it as part of our curriculum, because now it becomes interactive. It's not, here's the content, now take a test and see what you remember. It's, here's the content, learn it, now deliver it, and have the AI tool tell you how well you did. And keep practicing until you get to the point where you become exceptional. Often in classes, I've talked about, with students, I don't teach, but if I've been a guest lecturer in a class, I've talked about, my goal is to help everybody in the school become an exceptional chiropractor. And anything less than exceptional is unacceptable, in my opinion. So I'll ask, how many of you have made a concerted decision to be exceptional in all parts of your curriculum here at Life University? The number of hands that go up is not very high. I've asked to speak at a different chiropractic college. It's the same percentage. And so I look around and I said, well, look around. That's like 10% of you or 20% of you have made the intentional decision to be exceptional, to put everything you got into everything you learn, into everything you do. I said, what's the rest of you? You just want to be mediocre? Because if you're not focusing on becoming exceptional, you're choosing to be mediocre. And who the hell wants to be mediocre? Because mediocre is not being successful. And so that's where I'm looking at how can we leverage AI even more. And so I've started having conversations with the administration of the College of Chiropractic. And a few of them are starting to use AI tool, but it was new to most of them. I think I was fortunate because my wife said, I'm taking this course and you can join me. Do you want to join me? And there I was learning something I thought I was going to resist. And as soon as I started learning, I was like, okay, I'm going to try this tonight. And I was like, whoa, this is cool. And I tried it again. And I tried it again. And now I don't try it. I just use it. And so it's made me, again, more productive, more efficient, more effective. It'll do that for you.
It is a superpower. It is a super tool if you know how to use it. There are obviously some that are worried about it, scared about it. But if used correctly, as you're experiencing and sharing with others, practice should be easier, more fun, be more effective, communicate easier. And obviously the educational process, I think learning in general is going to be different because you can work one-on-one with an AI that can give you immediate feedback and basically have the collective consciousness, as you're saying, of, all of the best minds into one. It's an exciting future if done properly. Tell us more. What's your vision for the future of the business, accelerator system? Are you raising money for that? What do you see happening in the future? What's your message to chiropractors in terms of why you think they should be most excited about AI in the future? Not afraid, but actually enthusiastic about it. How's it going to make our profession better, practice better, life better? And what might they support that you're doing at Life University?
Thank you. So before I do that, may I segue for a little second? There's something I'm really passionate about. Imagine, because I've been a principal chiropractor my entire life, right? I discovered principal chiropractor at age 12. And, right now, 58 years later, it's still the life that I live every single day. Imagine if you could teach someone to pre-frame subluxation in the chiropractic practice so that the majority of humanity started understanding the devastating effects of subluxation. How could that change the parameters or the paradigm in which we live? I think it would have a huge change in the paradigm. So when I look at all that, These are some of the things that I see that when we implement it, we get students really prepared for the real world out there. So when I decided to become a chiropractor, some people say, oh, good for you, man. There's never been a better time to be a chiropractor. I'd hear that from chiropractors, right? From other people go, oh, I would never go to a chiropractor. I got into practice in 1979. It was like, oh, there's never been a better time to be a chiropractor. And I've been hearing that every decade since. So I heard in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, 2000s, the 2010s, the 2020s. I'm still hearing it. There's never been a better time in chiropractic. And I believed it the entire time. I believe it more now than ever before because the people out there are ready. The people out there are looking for you. They just don't know it's you that they're looking for. They're looking for a different paradigm. They're looking for strategies on how to be healthy. They're listening to influencers all over the place. And I'm not seeing one influencer talking about the devastating effects of subluxation on neurological function and physiological function. And so for me to use this AI tool at Life University, and as we know, every tool is expensive. Like the initial tool that I'm using, I can tell you, very inexpensive. You buy the paid version for $200 a year if you pay in one lump sum payment. $200. Worth the money. Like I said, stay away from the free version. If you want to play a little bit, go there. But I'd suggest go buy the $200 version, learn how to use it, and just work your way through it. It'll be fantastic. But when you look at these other versions that would have multiple applications from, the written word to voice to imagery to this to that, it's expensive. And so the university, I'd say our university, like probably most universities, was not prepared for how quickly this revolution or this evolution was going to occur. And so there's no doubt that for, chiropractors listening in said, hey, I wish I had something like that. I wish I had a business accelerator when I went to my chiropractic institution. I wish I just want to send my kid to a school that teaches to be a great principled chiropractor, but is also going to teach them the business aspects so they can come out and, kick butt when they get out of there and learn their communication skills. Imagine even your public speaking skills. You can tell the AI tool, I want to accomplish X, Y, Z, and then give a talk and ask it to comment. You have an objective advisor that's looking at you, that's listening to you, that's able to give you advice based on what you say you want to accomplish. It's like, wow, blow my mind. I remember, the people that I hired to teach me public speaking. They cost a lot of money. Even back then, I had Mark Victor Hansen was one of my first public speaking coaches. Then he referred me to somebody else. And when he referred me to that other guy, and that was probably like 1985, 86, 87, something like that. A 4-day weekend with this guy was $20,000 in the mid 80s, but it was worth it. Now you invest in a $200 or $500 tool that's doing almost the exact same thing. And so I really do believe there's never been a better time in history to be a chiropractor rather. And I know that the majority of chiropractic institutions are not thriving like we should be thriving. The numbers of, chiropractic students across all chiropractic colleges in the United States a number of years ago was like 15,000. We're now at about 2/3 of that number, I believe, somewhere in that, somewhere between 10 and 12,000, I think, students across all chiropractic institutions. None of the chiropractic institutions are full. None of the chiropractic institutions have a waiting list for admission. It's just the reality we're living in. Why? Because people out there don't really understand what it is that we do and what it is that we offer. It's so much more than cracking necks and cracking backs. It gives people their lives back, right? It affects physiology. So I see the ability of AI to help us prepare the student to be that much stronger and to continue to support the chiropractor who he or she wants to continue to learn. I mean, the AI tool can continue to teach you what you want to learn to become, again, those are my words, more productive, more efficient, more effective. If you can become more productive, more efficient, more effective, you create a better life for yourself. You create a better life for your team. You create a better life for all of your practice members when you become more productive, more effective, and more efficient. And that's really been my focus. And I saw AI actually helping me do that at a higher scale. It's like about scaling your learning. It's about scaling your impact.
And not only doing it faster, but doing it better. I've done some of this myself. I'm preparing for some presentations, and the scientific references are just handed to you just right there. You just got to ask. It's crazy at just how, I'll dare say, magical it really is. I mean, it's only as limited as the questions you creatively are able to ask it.
Exactly.
And it just has access to, the world's collective consciousness and information. So it is up to us to use it in the most productive way possible, in the most creative ways possible. It levels the playing field because we now have access to a technology that truly has the ability to help us revolutionize the messaging around healthcare and deliver to people, as you keep saying, at scale, the ability to understand what chiropractic really is. If people want to support the Business Accelerator, what you're doing with AI, where can they go, and what closing messages do you have for everyone?
Oh, I love the fact that you asked that question. After all, I do manage all of fundraising at Life University. So thanks for asking that great question. I wasn't expecting to be given such a gift. It's pretty easy. You go to life.edu and you'll notice on the top of the right-hand page, there's a little button that says Give. So if you decide you want to make a contribution to Life University, hit that Give button. It'll open up the giving page. And on the left-hand side, there's all sorts of opportunities and options. If you want to support AI, we haven't created a specific page for that yet. I would say select annual fund and make your donation. And in the comment box, just put AI. And it will go towards the development of the use of AI tools at the university to both teach, but enhance the student experience. I mean, that's why I'm here. I could have been retired a long time ago, but I'm here to enhance the student experience so we can create exceptional chiropractors who can have exceptional results helping people in their community so we can change humanity, period. This is not a small vision. This is about impacting all of humanity through chiropractic care. Every human has a spine. Every human has a nervous system. Every human being, in my opinion, has would want to be subluxation free. What a gift that would be. And we as chiropractors have the ability to offer that gift to people. So if we can scale this and we can move the needle a lot faster because of it, if we can create more well-trained, principled chiropractic ambassadors that understand how to build a thriving practice so that they can impact more lives and create a good life for themselves and their family at the same time, I mean, what's wrong? There's nothing wrong with that, right? I will never make excuses for having lived an exceptional life. I will never make excuses for having delivered fantastic service to my community and made tons of money. There's no excuses there. I worked hard. I delivered great service. My people got well. And I'm so proud when I go back to my practice that I sold back in 2004, and I'll go back actually next week for a couple of days. When I go back and I sit in the reception room for a little bit, and like 30, 40, 50 people, 50% of the people in the reception room were practice members when I was there, and I haven't been there for 21 years. It's freaking awesome, right? That we can have that impact, and AI can help us have that impact bigger, better, faster.
Well said. I completely agree. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support, and I recommend that you do, go to life.edu, look for that button, Give. Make sure you choose the annual fund, type in the comments, AI, show your support for what they're doing at Life University, using AI to help the profession, to help students become better chiropractors. That's all of that's our profession. We should be creating great ones for the future. It only is a great reflection upon all of us. Dr. Gilles, thank you so much for taking the time, making the time, being here, sharing your heart, sharing your wisdom. Any closing comments for everyone?
I mean, resistance is futile. Resistance is futile. It's like when I got glasses, I remember my arms were getting too short to read my notes in practice. The optometrist said, we need glasses. I said, no, I don't. I can still read. He said, resistance is futile. And he was right, because once I started wearing glasses, I realized I could see better. So this is an amazing tool.
Yeah.
Embrace it. There's no need to be afraid. It's not going to eat you up. It's not going to destroy you. It's simply going to help you. So to me, it's just like that extra tool in my tool bag. If I decided I wanted to cut a tree, I could use a handsaw or I could use a chainsaw. Let me tell you, I've used both. The chainsaw works better. It works faster. You can make more firewood with a chainsaw than you could with an axe or with a handsaw, provided all of them are sharpened, obviously. But this tool is always sharp, and it makes you sharper. Right on.
All right, it's day 4. This is the future of chiropractic, and who else to better make sure that they are a part of this conversation than Dr. Jay Greenstein, somebody we all know has been traveling the country and teaching the leaders of our profession all about AI. It's been published recently. He's been very much a vocal leader about AI, chiropractic, our future. What more can I say than please welcome my good friend, Dr. Jay Greenstein.
What's up, everybody? It's Dr. Jay Greenstein here, and I'm super excited to be a part of this AI event put on by Dr. Jeff, Dr. Jason, and Dr. Bo. This is just really super cool, and I just want to thank those guys for allowing me to be part of this. Today, my topic of conversation is the AI-powered practice, how AI-powered digital health drives retention and revenue. So for me, it's all about adherence. Patients understand their care plan. They seem to get excited when going to the chiropractor and getting that first consultation, examination, report of findings, and then all of a sudden, something changes. And what we know from the scientific literature, this was actually a study that was published in 2021 in JMPT, that although 82% of patients understood the recommendations made by their chiropractor, only 27 to 44% actually reported adhering to the treatment plan. And so what does that mean? It means frustration for us as providers. It means probably worse outcomes in patients going down the wrong clinical pathways and worse outcomes for them. And then, of course, increased costs to the healthcare system at large. So we never want people to discontinue care too soon, prematurely, and then turn around and say, well, chiropractic just didn't work. Mary, you only had 2 visits, so I don't know what you expect after having 26 years of back pain. So for me, it literally is all about adherence, and it can be extremely maddening. Now, what does the science say around why patients drop out? And what we see, the observation of the behaviors that we see are missed appointments without notice, incomplete home exercise programs, no response to follow-up calls, and half-finished care plans, and nothing is worse than getting ghosted by your patients. What we assume is that, oh, they just need more education. They don't understand well enough, or they're not motivated, or they don't care, or they're just non-compliant. But at the end of the day, the real problem is not motivation or education. It's design. So more education is not enough. Patients already know they need to be completing care. The gap isn't knowledge, it's execution. And traditional approaches, they focus on telling patients what they should do and why it matters. But behavioral science shows that intention doesn't equal action. Daily life, friction, and competing priorities always win out. So I want to introduce to you the 3B framework. This was something that was developed by Dr. Kristen Berman at Irrational Labs. And she talks about understanding human behavior in a 3B framework. So the first B is, what's the behavior that we're wanting the patients to partake in? 2, the second B is, what are the barriers that get in the way, those friction points, those areas of required effort or situations that create confusion? What are those barriers? What do they look like? And then the third B is all about the benefits. How do we amplify the benefits so that patients feel them more immediately, where there's more rewards and it's worth them doing? And of course, what we find with patient care delivery is that many times patients drop out because they start feeling better and like, oh, I'm good. I don't need to continue. We know that maintenance care has really great outcomes for patients long-term. We also know that patients who have decreased symptoms or no symptoms and still have biomechanical challenges or issues or neurologic issues, their symptoms will return. And so the whole goal is to get patients to adhere to their care plan, finish their care plan, get a great outcome, and then make the right decision around maintenance care and, of course, retention. So this is why we built EmBodi, to solve these problems around patient adherence and retention. We help chiropractors improve patient retention and revenue with AI-powered digital health. And we literally built this platform on the foundation of behavioral economics. Now, this whole entire journey started with our first product, Canvas. Now, Canvas was built to be basically the first rewards program ever delivered for chiropractic practices. Now, the product did a lot of different things, but at the end of the day, it was all about building a frequent flyer program for patients where they earn rewards for coming in for their visits. And at a certain point, they got to redeem those rewards for an OIG compliant gift. Now, we published 2 studies on this gamification model. You can find them both in PubMed. One was on adherence and retention, and the other was on revenue. And by the way, you guys, spoiler alert, guess what? Rewards work. People like free shit. And so when we give them free shit for doing the right behaviors, guess what? Their behaviors are better. And by the way, that drives better outcomes for them, but it also drives more revenue in a fee-for-service model for the provider as well. And so again, we published those 2 studies. Feel free to check them out on PubMed. We've also seen many, many systematic reviews around how gamifying behaviors improves healthcare behaviors. This one was published in the Harvard Business Review, but there are many out there that you can find. We know that gamification works. So again, how do we use digital health tools, gamify the experience, add on AI, and really drive a remarkable experience for both patients and providers? And this is what we've built with EmBodi. It is truly a next generation platform. So the patient has their own app and the provider has a dashboard. And because we've got data around what's happening with the patient and also the provider can see it, we call this remote therapeutic monitoring. Now, we didn't realize it when we built it actually, but we've actually built software as a medical device as defined by the FDA. And so because we've built software as a medical device, our customers, other chiropractic practices, can bill CPT codes for remote therapeutic monitoring. Now, that's important, and I'll get to the codes in just a minute, but really, remote therapeutic monitoring is a way to strengthen connection between you and your patients. And when we improve connection, we improve trust, and trust improves adherence and retention. And of course, retention drives revenue. Now, before we started our embarking on EmBodi, when we just published our first 2 studies on Canvas, which is our first product where we had that first gamified experience with rewards, I hired some researchers to do an entire literature review on what drives care adherence. And here's what we found. The top 5 drivers of patient adherence are goal setting and shared decision-making, understanding of condition and treatment plan, trust and communication with the provider, a personalized care journey, and of course, clinical improvement. Now, spoiler alert again, we've looked at over 4,000 patients across 7 independent practices over a year and a half, and we studied our EmBodi platform. We studied EmBodi users versus non-users, and here's what we found. Users of EmBodi were 40.48% more adherent to their care plan. They came in for 40.48% more visits than non-users. And of course, when you come in for more visits, you drive more revenue. And it drove 36.12% more revenue across those 7 independent practices. By the way, guys, when I talk about these things, I'm always talking about the science. I'm always talking about the data. This is not theoretical. I've run these numbers 6 ways from Sundays across multiple clinics many, many times. And statistically, they're very, very consistent. We know that building a connection between patients and providers and gamifying the experience drives better retention and drives more revenue. I can say that with the utmost confidence because I've seen it over and over and over again. So when we think about adherence and we think about retention, sure, education is great, but what we really need to do is understand behavioral science, behavioral economics, and really start bringing digital health and the elevation of behavioral science and behavioral economics into chiropractic practice and at home for the patients with remote therapeutic monitoring. Now, there is icing on the cake. Again, I talked about the 4 CPT codes that can be billed when doing remote therapeutic monitoring, and here they are. The first code is onboarding and education. When the patient onboards onto what's called the device, because it's considered software as a medical device, when they onboard onto the device, that's 98975. Now, you cannot bill that code until the patient has reported 16 data points, patient-reported outcomes, data points, back to the provider in a given 30-day consecutive period, because insurance companies don't want patients to download a device and then not use it. So the only way that you're supposed to bill 99.75 is when you've met the criteria for 99.77, which is, again, the patient reporting 16 patient reported outcomes back to the provider in a 30-day consecutive period. By the way, guys, whether it's our RTM product or another company, don't let other companies fool you. I have demoed many RTM companies, and they'll tell me that I can bill 99.75 as soon as we onboard, or as soon as our patients onboard. That is not accurate according to CPT and the American Academy of Coding Professionals. Do not do that. So you want to be able to go with a company that you trust, you understand their technology, and they're giving you the right information so that you don't get screwed if and when you're ever audited for RTM. The third code that's being billed through RTM is 20 minutes of time spent by the provider monitoring their patients remotely. And the fourth code is an additional 20 minutes of time spent by the provider in a given calendar month. By the way, notice that 99.80, 99.81 is a calendar month. 99.77 is a 30-day consecutive period. Why the bureaucrats made it so complicated and those things don't align, I have no idea. When we built EmBodi, we built in all the infrastructure to notify the patient when these criteria have been met based on all the technology and all the infrastructure that's built in the system. We also notify the provider when these things can be built based on when specific criteria are met. So you cannot bill a 99.75 unless you've met the 99.77 criteria. We will never notify you to bill 99.75 until 99.77 has been met. So there's a lot of billing elements that are built into our platform that's automated, but we don't really have time to get into all that today. But just know that it's a smart system, and we do that to ensure that when you're billing these codes, you are compliant. All the documentation around what the provider does, the patient does, and the system does is also built into the system. So when it comes to documentation and coding compliance, our system is bar none, by far the most advanced. Now, what's really cool, you guys, is that for 2026, CMS came out with 2 new codes with decreased requirements. So now, if a patient reports between 2 and 15 days, you can bill 989.85. And if you spend anywhere between 10 and 19 minutes instead of 20, you can bill 989.79. I think this is remarkable for 2 reasons. 1, it provides us with more codes that we can bill, but 2, what policymakers and research scientists are seeing is that the use of remote therapeutic monitoring is helping patients get better outcomes. And because of that, they're reducing the threshold to allow more people to receive these codes and for providers to be rewarded for the work that's being done, even if it's less. And I just think that's a remarkable advancement for digital health. And I'm super excited for our customers and for the chiropractic profession at large to embrace RTM and take advantage of these codes. Now, the real world is providers getting paid. These are our customers getting paid $33.73 through work comp. This is United Healthcare. They have a per diem, but they're covering the 16 data points, 99.77. This is Aetna. The first 2 codes, almost $71. Blue Cross Blue Shield, almost $80, and over $80 for the first 2 codes for the VA. So not every payer pays this. That's why I say it's icing on the cake. But I will tell you that the magic around RTM is really just understanding what's going on in the patient journey when they're not in the clinic. And if you can build these codes and get paid for them, amazing. Now you're getting extra revenue coming into your practice. By the way, just think about this. The first 2 codes the patient does, they onboard on their own and they're providing the data on their own. You're only actually doing work when you meet the 20 minutes of time threshold. And remember, now in 2026 is going to be reduced to only 10 minutes. And I'm going to foresee many more patients qualifying for that particular code. So what does the journey look like with clinical artificial intelligence and RTM combined? So let's just walk through this. So a patient has a new patient consultation, examination, report of findings. They download the app. This is the beginning of the onboarding requirement. All their education around what they're going to be able to do in the app, all their home exercises, communicating with the providers, scheduling and rescheduling, and our rewards program. And then, of course, goal setting, which is really important, again, according to the scientific evidence, in order to drive greater adherence. Now, they also understand their condition through the app, and they know what their treatment plan is. It's all recorded inside the platform. So again, in the spirit of adherence data, all the evidence around what drives adherence, understanding the condition and the treatment plan, all in the EmBodi app. Now, as the patient is downloading and onboarding onto the app, the provider is going in, and of course, they are now personalizing the HEP through our proprietary patent pending AI. So the provider puts the diagnosis into the EHR. We pull that diagnosis and we map out an entire home exercise program that is evidence-based and all built around maximizing biomechanical and neurobiomechanical function. So all of it is done for you through the use of our clinical AI. The provider sees what's going on. They can see the actual home exercise progression. All they have to do is to go into our provider platform and approve it. They adjust the patient, they send them on their way, and then about an hour after the patient leaves their visit, after every single visit, we are prompting the patient to report their patient-reported outcomes. Now, what that does is when the patient provides their outcomes and the provider can see it, and there's an exacerbation, the patient is not doing well, the provider then has the ability to respond, and that builds trust. And of course, all this added communication when the patient is not in the clinic helps to strengthen the patient-provider relationship. And that drives better adherence. You know, my doctors and I, we talk about this all the time. It's like, it's not hard to care about your patients and just stay connected to them, especially with the use of digital tools like EmBodi. So we are the only platform that actually connects clinical outcomes data with automated communication. So we can automate messages to patients, but we can also reach out to them manually and provide a response. And again, make sure they're progressing in their care journey. When patients know we freaking give a crap, that we care, they're more likely to stick with us because they know, like, and trust us. So again, when the patient is reporting their outcomes, that is part of the 16 days of data that's being reported back. And of course, after our clinic visits based on our data, we're getting about 70% of our patients and our customers' patients reporting their outcomes after their clinic visits, which is just a remarkable number. Now, the next day, the patient opens up their app, they begin to do their home exercises, they see what exercise they have, they do their exercises, and then they again report their outcomes after they complete their exercises, going towards all those 16 data points that are required in the 30-day consecutive period. Notice how we've built the system to drive patient-reported outcomes, but even more important, because the patient is reporting their outcomes after their home exercises, our AI will automatically update and then personalize, not the same day's exercises, but the next day's exercises to ensure that the patient is getting exactly what they need when they need it. So you might have 10 patients that have a diagnosis of M99.01, cervical segmental dysfunction, but guess what? Based on how the patients respond to the exercise progression, each one of them might have a completely different and hyper-personalized care journey, because we want to give patients what they need, when they need it, when it's right for them. So our AI will use that patient-reported outcomes data and then select the exercises that's going to be most appropriate the next day for them. Now, this is one of the great use cases of AI, and also, again, aligns with the literature about building a personalized care journey to drive adherence. The provider sees all this information when they go into the provider portal and they're looking at all this data, approving the home exercise, reviewing the home exercises, seeing the patient-reported outcomes. All that time is counting towards the 98980, or 20 minutes of time spent monitoring the patients remotely for their billing RTM. Now, again, not only can we see the patient-reported outcomes, we can see who's doing better, the same, worse, much worse, et cetera, but we can also look at their behaviors. We can see when patients are not adhering, both to their in-clinic care plan and also to their home exercises. And that gives us the opportunity to provide either digital communication or in-clinic communication to get them back on track. Now, speaking of digital communication, we're able to actually message our patients in-app clinical information. That's really important because you cannot use SMS messaging. It's not HIPAA compliant to have conversations with your patients about their clinical condition. Neither is email. So it's only in-app HIPAA compliant communication. But when our providers are using the portal to message our patients in-app, the clock is counting towards that 20 minutes of time spent. See, we built the system in a way where we're already doing the work. Why not get paid for it? Providers are already messaging their patients, but we want to make sure that we're tracking the time. So if and when they meet that 20-minute threshold per calendar month, the providers can then build these codes. We can also create and edit templates. We can create save messages, so we can automate messages based on different triggers in the system, or different triggers based on patient-reported outcomes data. It is a fully automated system that can be customized really any way you want. But the whole goal, again, is to strengthen the connection between the patient and the provider to understand when patients are not doing well or understand when patients are not adhering to their care plan, and providing messages, either automated, AI-driven, or manual, to make sure that the patients stay on track, adhere to their care plan, and get the best clinical outcome. We've got all types of templates and automations. And again, the whole idea around the way that we built this is that any clinical data that requires the response of the provider, that's going to drive clinical improvement and therefore adherence to the care plan, is built into the system automatically. So again, that's where 98980 comes into play. When the patients are doing the work on the back end, we are counting that time. Literally, we are measuring and monitoring everything the patient does, everything the provider does, and everything the system does, so that all that information goes into an activity log. It's being tracked. And when you're ready to build these codes, all you do is copy and paste it right into the note, and you're done. Coming soon, we are building a coin economy for our practices. We have had many conversations with all of our early adopter practices. Our customers are loving the rewards program. And now what we're going to do is take that rewards program and create literally an economy inside their practices. So when patients do what they're supposed to do, they're engaged in their care plan, they come for their visits, they do their home exercises, they report their patient-reported outcomes, they're going to be earning coins. Then after a certain number of coins, they're going to be able to redeem those coins for cash-based services or products back into the practice. That's going to generate more revenue back into the practice. And of course, when they're using more products and services back in the practice, that drives more engagement, more earned coins, more redemption, more revenue, etc. So we're literally building a coin economy for each one of our customers so they can drive more cash-based revenue inside their practices. But patients are spending their cash-based coins on healthy things. Like, we're literally driving more health at the same time, driving more healthier practices. So this is what aligns with my core values. Like, I don't want patients spending money for the sake of spending money. I want to create a healthier, happier world. And so we can do that, and we can build healthier, happier lives, and we can build healthier, happier practices all at the same time. And we're literally going to be at the forefront of building these coin economies into the practices. Now, we're taking AI to the next level. Imagine having a super sharp clinical Sherpa who's helping your patients, guide them through their care plan, whether it's onboarding, doing their exercises, coming in for their visits, or other areas that I can't really fully disclose right now because my company would kill me for disclosing. But I will tell you that we are building really smart agentic AI to really help drive the behaviors that need to be done by both the patients, the providers, and their team in order to ensure that everybody literally wins. And AI is literally just getting started. And these agents are going to be incredibly smart, incredibly impactful. And of course, this patent pending technology is going to drive better experiences and outcomes for patients. That's going to drive more engagement and, of course, more revenue and better outcomes. So, time for review. We know adherence is maddening. We need patients to do better. What we see is one thing, but the real problem isn't motivation or education. It's really about design. We have to understand the behaviors we want them to do, the barriers that get in the way, and how we apply benefits to overcome those barriers. That's what we're doing with EmBodi. We help chiropractors improve patient retention and revenue with AI-powered digital health built on the foundation of behavioral economics. Patients have an app, providers have a portal. It's a great way to strengthen connection between you and your patients. It improves adherence and retention, and of course, revenue. And of course, we're driving this AI-driven personalized HEP. We never want providers to ever have to build an HEP program ever again. Of course, the platform is fully customized. You could do it if you want to, but we don't want providers to have to do that if they don't need to. And of course, it's really, really smart because it's building this progression based on the diagnosis and the functional limitations of the patient, and then optimizing and updating and personalizing as the patient goes through their care journey. We know this is driving better retention, and we know it's driving better revenue. And we've studied this 6 ways from Sundays. By the way, keep a lookout because in 2026, we will be publishing our 3rd study, but our first on EmBodi. The icing on the cake, of course, is the RTM revenue. And we know that these are codes that will get easier to bill in 2026 as long as you've got software as a medical device in your practice where you can build these codes based on the requirements. This is just the first level. Again, in 2026, we're going to be driving coin economies into our customers' practices by driving engagement where patients earn coins. They'll be able to redeem those coins for cash-based products and services. And that's what you generate cash, money, revenue inside the practices, but also help patients make better healthcare decisions, spend their money on healthy products and services so we create a healthier, happier world. And of course, our agents are going to literally change the way in which people experience healthcare, both on the patient and the provider side. I want to thank you guys for spending this time with me today. I have enjoyed my journey so much in building technology to advance the chiropractic profession and the patients that we serve. And I promise you, we are only at the beginning of creating a worldwide movement for digital health and chiropractic. So thank you guys so much. Thank you again, Jeff and Jason and Bo, for allowing me to be here in this great AI summit that you guys have put together. Can't wait to see the other presentations, and I will see you all soon. And one more thing, we've got a great gift for you all today for attending the event. We've got 4 levels of pricing for EmBodi, but what we're going to do today only is for the first 3 practices, we're going to give you the VIP value package. So we're going to waive the setup fee. We're going to give you the discounted rate of $297 for the first 3 months. We're going to do monthly coaching calls with our executive team with all of our new VIP clients. We're going to give you access to our full EmBodi education hub called the Trailblazer Hub. We're going to give you a free documentation and coding audit from Chiro Armor. You're also going to get the remote therapeutic coding and documentation guide to make sure that you're compliant when billing these codes. And you'll have exclusive access to our EmBodi community where we share ideas and strategies all around practice growth and profitability. The total savings is over $11,000. And if you purchase today, there is a 30-day money-back guarantee. So go ahead, scan the QR code, get all these great savings, and join the EmBodi community where we're bringing digital health and AI to help grow your practices and grow your impact and grow your income. Y'all have a great day.
I'm proud to introduce to you our first speaker today on our leadership panel, and that's my great friend, Dr. Guy Riekeman. Enjoy his fantastic presentation.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Chiro AI Summit. Of course, I'm Dr. Jason Deitch, and I am here with a gentleman who probably does not need much of an introduction. I could probably spend all 30 minutes together with you introducing him, his accomplishments, his achievements, his contributions, and so on.
Please don't.
Let me get right to the point and just say, Dr. Guy Riekeman, Guy, great to see you. Thank you for taking time to be a part of this summit. And I'm excited to have a conversation with you about one of the most important topics that I believe you can speak to in a way that very few other chiropractors, human beings, can speak about, because you're one of the only people that have done sort of all 5 parts of the chiropractic experience, from student to practitioner to consultant to chiropractic president, political leader. You've seen it from all sides. You've lived it from all sides. Welcome. And let me just get right into it. How do you see, from your perspective, your history, what's happening in chiropractic education and the impact AI is going to have in the future?
Sure. And I think it's a great topic and really pertinent for today. It'd be easy to sort of fall into old battles of national boards and how they deliver exams, and CCE and how it influenced education, and its evolution from a more political to an educational quality organization. But I think we'd really miss out on this opportunity. So I want to step back for just a moment and frame this maybe, and then we can go where you want to go, but frame this in the context of what kind of education is out there, whether it's chiropractic education, whether it's K through 12 education, college education. And it really falls down into 3 delivery models. One is the classic, what's known as the Socratic model. That's the learned professor standing at the front of the room, transmitting this mass amount of information that they have, and the absorbent student sitting there taking it in, that's learning the material and going out. We can talk about the upsides and downsides of these things in a moment. So that's the model that almost all chiropractors that I know were trained in, almost 100%, the Socratic model. The other model that came around, and it was really stimulated by COVID, was the need to go to some online education. Now, online education had gotten big before COVID, but not in chiropractic. And so what happened in chiropractic when COVID hit and students couldn't go to class, they had to find a way to transmit the information. And so what they did was they basically did one of two things, and there's a broad spectrum here. They either just recorded the instructor giving the normal Socratic presentation from the front of the room, and students could watch it online, or more real online education where they actually use the tools of putting students in small groups, having interactions, passing or being able to go through material more at their pace rather than the instructor's pace. A lot of that, most of that didn't happen in chiropractic. Most of it was the instructor just being videotaped at the front of the room. And a lot of chiropractic schools today have what they call the hybrid model, which is nowadays you can either go to the class and listen to the instructor, or you can not go to school and just sit at home and watch the video of the instructor afterwards. So we'll call that online education. In chiropractic, it was at a very low level of online education compared to some major organizations like Coursera and some others that maybe we'll be able to touch on. And then there's the new thing. It's AI. And this is really right now, people are wondering, how is AI going to affect education? Like most of AI, there's a good, a bad, and the ugly. But the good part of the possibility, and there is some action on this already, the possibility of AI education is that it's going to completely wipe out debt of the student getting out of school. It has the possibility of producing a much more well-trained person that moved through the curriculum based on their learning abilities, not based on trimesters and quarters, and having to advance from one level to the next. And it holds the great possibility of providing the training in entrepreneurship, team building, all those kinds of things that we just don't get in chiropractic education, because you're around 40 hours to 80 hours a week, a bunch of other students who have never been in practice. So there's also obviously some bad and ugly associated with it, which we can talk about. But I think for our discussion today, most important point, Socratic model, online education, AI learning, the ups and downs of them, and which ones offer the best opportunity for moving forward.
Well, maybe let's dig down into all three of those categories. There's good and bad to each of them. We're obviously hoping for the best in the future. AI can go either way, depending on how we use it, how we implement it. What's your take on the positive, negatives, and your hope for the future?
Yeah, so if I were to look at the Socratic model, which, having been the president of Palmer in Life, was the model that we used, and we were working hard to try to change that model. We'll get into some of the barriers maybe later to these new kinds of education. I have a hard time defending much of the Socratic model just because of how it's applied. You've got an instructor at the front of the room that may not even speak your native language. The quality of instructors from one college to the next, one topic to the next, changes dramatically. I know, for example, that India 30, 40 years ago made a decision as a country to get involved in two things. One was, as we know today, programming, computers, which is why most of the programming for apps and all of that are either done in the Philippines or in India. But the other thing India got into was, for some weird reason, training people in anatomy, to teach anatomy. So one of the most difficult instructors to find in a chiropractic institution is an anatomy instructor with a PhD. So you're going to find a large number of them are Eastern Indian. And again, we did a study one time, for example, we had 100 students in the class. We found out, or we were watching, we could record this, how many other websites were open on their computers while they were sitting in the class. And the answer was 400. So the average student had 4 other websites open while the class was going on, and they weren't necessarily watching porn. But what they were doing was they were checking everything the instructor said to see if it was up to date, if it was current, if it was the best models out there. So students were totally disengaged because of the quality of the instruction to a large degree. And then, as we all know in our profession, we get tribalism from one school to the next, philosophical tribalism. It's less about learning anatomy and more about whether or not you can have a subluxation or not, or whether we should call a biomechanical problem of subluxation or something else. You know, all the tribalism that goes on. So the Socratic model is so dependent upon the quality of an individual, an organization, a president, a board, an instructor, that I have a hard time defending much of anything good in that particular level. It's great to hang out with a bunch of people. I guess there's some social value in that, but educationally, it's poor.
I have to say that's got to be based a lot on your experience and the ability to, as you said, find the right people to do the job. That seems to be the hard part.
And it's hugely expensive, right? You're paying all of these faculty members, PhDs. You got to have classrooms. Students demand certain quality of classrooms. So, it's a slippery slope that once you're in it, all the model you have to create is expensive. It's not high quality education. It leaves people in the dust who can't keep up in certain subjects. You and I both know some people are great with their hands and other people are really great with books. And so it takes them different amount of time to move through. And that's where online education came along. Real, true online education solves some of those problems, like being able to work through information at your own pace versus someone else's pace. It didn't fit the institutions because they're trimester, quarter, based. So it was tough. And so most of this online, as we talked about earlier, resorted to just filming instructors and adding in a few graphics and some special bells and whistles, which eliminated some of the problems, but it created other problems also. The big issue with that was faculty was not willing to put up with it. You had to retrain faculty. At Life, for example, we went through a whole program of starting to do mastery-based, outcomes-based education rather than just content information, content-based. And one, it required a complete restructuring of classrooms, complete restructuring of the time during the day, because students were only in class for a portion of the day. Then they were in small groups doing work on projects outside of that sort of general conversation. The faculty were teaching less. They were there to facilitate conversations versus standing up to the front of the room and just passing out content and testing somebody on the end of it. And in the end, the faculty basically killed it, right? It eliminated 25% of the faculty who were not qualified to be able to do it. Secondly, it created huge amounts of cost for facilities restructuring. And third, they just didn't want to do it. You follow me? They just didn't want to do it. And so it just drags into nothingness.
If only there was a better way. And I don't think most of us watching need to relive the experience of going to chiropractic. Yeah, we know the limitations. What do you see moving forward as the future? You mentioned the Alpha School model.
Yeah. So let me just sort of do a metaphor, so to speak, although it's real. And then show you this short 2-minute video on something called the Alpha School, which is a K through 12 school experience based on AI. So let's say you and I are at dinner and you're not a chiropractor, I am, and you're having the conversation, say, gosh, I wanted to be a chiropractor, but then life got in the way. I got married. My spouse had a job. We couldn't pack up and move to Atlanta or Davenport or Portland, Oregon. And now we've got kids and, there's a 5th grader and a 9th grader and I've got a great job and, I don't want to go $350,000 in debt and I'd have to go back and get some prerequisites. And so what basically happened to us over the years is we took the second career chiropractor out of the equation, right? But besides the fact that it's expensive and you have to uproot your family. So imagine you and I having dinner. You say, I always wanted to be a chiropractor. And I said, you know what? I just slide my iPhone across the table and say, fill out this quick application. And the next day you get a call and someone says, we've reviewed all of your records, easy to do. And you need these 3 prerequisites. So this afternoon, Amazon is delivering your books. They'll be on your doorstep when you get home this evening. And you'll get a call from a coordinator who will set up your schedule with you. And so you go through this, you do it at home, and guess what? You're still at your job, your kids are still in their school, right? Your spouse is still teaching at the local high school, whatever he or she is doing. You follow? You get that done, all of a sudden you get a call and say, not next term, but right now, tomorrow you're going to start your chiropractic program, you're ready to go. Your books are showing up. Again, a coordinator will be in touch with you. You're going to have to start allocating this much time every day to this particular issue. We want to set you up with, and we can talk about this later, we want to set you up with your clinical experience and training, which will start almost instantaneously. And boom, you're off and running, right? Right then. Right? Here's the deal. Since you keep your job, your spouse keeps their job, you're going to graduate with no debt. Because let's face it, 2/3 of the $350,000 worth of debt that students leave chiropractic schools with are living expenses, not tuition. Tuition's around $125,000, give or take. You follow me? So one is it's going to be less expensive to deliver, probably, right? Secondly, you're not going to have the debt from moving, relocating, and not being able to work for a number of years while you're sitting in classes all day long. Third, you're going to move through the curriculum at your own pace. You'll see that in the Alpha School. You may get through anatomy very quickly because it clicks for you. Biochemistry may be tough. You may be at a different level in that, and you may be at a completely different level in some other subject. I used to say, when I talked about this, plus you're learning from Bruce Lipton, but that's not the case. You may not be learning from anyone. AI is going to be teaching the courses. You follow me? And we know with Grok, for example, that the day Grok came out, it had all the information in any subject that had ever been produced or was available on the planet. So astrophysics, Grok, the day it came out, had every PhD paper ever written, every concept, every lecture ever given on astrophysics. Grok, the first day, was asked to take the SATs. It had never had an introduction to any of the subjects. It got 100%. It took the law exam, got 100%. Took the medical boards, got 100%. You follow me? So I don't need Bruce Lipton teaching me cell biology. Grok may pull in Bruce Lipton, but Grok is going to be teaching me cell biology, and I'm going to be learning on my own. You say, well, how do I get the clinical training? Well, I'll just take the U.S., for example. Although this model works better in Europe, but if you took 10 for-profit, high-volume, for-profit chiropractic functional neurology centers, every whistle and bell, state-of-the-art, highly profitable, multi-million-dollar a year, all that kind of stuff, you place 10 of those clinics strategically in the United States, you'd be within a 3-hour drive of 85% of the American population. So while you're keeping your job, you may come down on a Friday afternoon, stay till Monday afternoon. You'll be working in the clinic during that time frame based on whatever skill set you're needing to learn at that point in an entrepreneurial setting of a successful practice. That's the model.
Yeah, it is fascinating. Why don't we take a look at the video, let everybody look at what the Alpha School model is, and we'll be back to talk about it right on the other side of the video.
Schools that have no teachers that utilize AI are outperforming normal schools by 650%, and they're spreading fast.
I'm in 8th grade science, and then 9th grade language, 10th grade reading, and then 7th grade math.
How old are you?
I'm 11.
You're 11. Who's teaching you?
I think the app is teaching me, but I'm also teaching myself.
If you think the education system is broken, you're right. Alpha School isn't your average classroom. No teachers pacing the front, no chaotic group work. Instead, every student gets 2 hours a day of one-on-one AI tutoring. Then for the rest of the day is all life skills, public speaking, entrepreneurship, teamwork, skills that actually matter outside the classroom. Students are testing in the top 2% nationwide, the top 2%, with some showing 6.5 times the academic growth of their peers in traditional schools. Traditional schools are just drowning. In the US, only 35% of the 4th graders are proficient in reading, and in maths it's even lower. Only 59% of students regularly show up, and the dropout rates are hitting decade highs. The parents, the teachers, and the kids all know something's broken. Alpha School shows us what happens when learning is customized. And the AI doesn't get tired, it doesn't play favorites. It meets the students exactly where they're at every single day. And the students are thriving on the one-on-one AI interaction. There's no more wasted hours, no more rigid curriculums, just rapid focus, effective learning. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If this works at scale, why keep the human teachers at all? If they're not working, why keep them? It's already spreading super fast. Alpha schools are popping up across the United States and demand is skyrocketing. Once this model is more refined, it could easily become the global standard. It's more than just a new teaching method, it's a glimpse into the future. This is what it's going to look like. AI is coming for education, and honestly, it might save it. Teachers are already expressing that they can't teach the kids. They won't focus. And if this is the only way to get them focusing in, why not give it a try? Are AI teachers the end of human educators? Is it the beginning of a better way to learn, or is it the destruction of the world that we know? What are the dangers of taking the human interaction away from learning? Comment below and let's talk about it.
Yeah, so the Alpha School was started by a group of entrepreneurs from Silicon Valley. Interestingly enough, it's housed in Austin, Texas. Their tuition range is about $20,000 a year. And a lot of people say, well, and you saw this in the video, they'll say, well, the kids are just learning in front of a machine, in front of technology. But they're only there 2 hours a day. And the rest of their 6 to 7 hours a day are working on teams. They're working on projects to develop businesses. They're learning entrepreneurship. They're learning all the skill sets that we never learned in chiropractic school about being successful as a human being and being successful in a business, right? So they serve grades 6 through 12 originally. That was the way it's set up. They now do K through 12. It's based on real problem solving, and it's based on mastery and outcome, not based on just getting through a topic at bare minimum, passing a test within a given time frame. So it's completely tailored to every student. It's unbiased. There's no instructor at the front of the room that has a bug up their rear end that day or doesn't like a student in the classroom who have decided their class is going to be the hardest class in the school. They're going to fail as many students as they, the whole routine.
We've all been there.
Yeah. So that's Alpha Schools. And I'm in touch with them right now about not only expanding it, they have about 7 schools, I believe, nationally right now. We're looking at wanting to start one of these in Puerto Rico. I think my real goal would be that the entire island of Puerto Rico would be under Alpha School to see what would happen to an entire culture that was raised that way. Think about the educational outcomes of that. But we're also in conversation about how difficult and what the steps would be to turn this into professional education, i.e. chiropractic.
Well, let's talk about it. In the time we have left, what does the vision of the future of chiropractic education look like? And I guess maybe there's 2 different ways of thinking about it here in America and then internationally. What do you see? What do you hope?
So if we use the model I talked about, as I said, it applies really well to Europe because of the language issues, right? The cultural and language issues. So if you look at starting a school in Ireland, there's a particular language. You want to start a school in Italy, there's a different language, but it's more than language. Like Italy, for example, you could place a school in either Florence or Rome and be within a short train ride of every person in Italy to come in for their education. So the model fits perfectly. You could have a Polish school, a Serbian school, an Italian school. Once you get the model set up, it's easy to push a button and transfer or transform the entire curriculum from English into Italian. I can do that. You and I do that with videos every day that we send out to patients. I can send out a video in British English and 3 minutes later put out the same thing in Farsi or Hebrew, right? So it's not difficult to change the language. The issue would be building the clinics, 1 clinic per country that students then would be able to go do their clinical training in. As I mentioned in the States, which I think is probably the last area that this is going to come to, I hate to say it. One, because education is so ingrained here on a particular model. My belief is that none of this is going to come out of the current chiropractic schools. It's too big of a shift to not think about having location-based education, location-based faculty members. As you saw in the Alpha School, there are no faculty members, right? There are coordinators. So I don't see that coming out of any of the schools in the States. I think CCE would go along with it, interestingly enough. I think states would have to change. Ohio, I think it still has requirements that you have to spend X number of hours in a classroom. That's why they take roll every day. It's an old law from back in the 1920s, right? When the Socratic model was the only model that existed, they needed to make sure you were sitting in the class if you were going to learn the material. So I think there would be state barriers here because there's 50 different states.
Right.
But I think the model could work here. And I think one of the big, Europe, it seems to me for the most part is a natural. And the third thing is, of course, areas of the world that we're not in yet. We need to be. Chiropractic needs to be more than USA in Europe and Australia if we're going to really have the impact of the vision of the founders and those of us who have a vision for our profession.
It is what appears to be destined in some way. Something is going to change. Something's going to evolve. The question is what? You can sort of see the positive sides of things. Imagine if it didn't cost very much. You didn't have to move to a school, relocate your family, stop what you're doing in order to physically be at a school. Let's address, as we're sort of closing up, let's address...
And get a better education.
And you assume give a better education.
And more successful. Yeah.
Well, let's just address, what the criticisms, of course, will be. Chiropractic is a hands-on profession. How do you address that? What are the downsides? Who is in charge of the curriculum? Somebody's going to make the decisions about, what's being taught, what's not going to be taught, what the philosophical perspective is. Is AI able to, in some way, maybe transcend, I'll say, the personality issues that often silo us into those tribes and maybe give us an opportunity to see it from a bigger or higher perspective? What do you think the critics are going to say, and what would you say to them?
I think the answer to that right now is we don't have an answer.
Okay.
In every particular area, human politics will eventually creep into the conversation. I know, for example, that getting started with this, pulling in, along with myself, groups of people that are not necessarily in the same tribe is at least a beginning place for that. We can talk about, there's one school that's actually on this particular route or headed in this direction. They're not there yet, but they're taking steps in this direction and they're open to it. So I think there's that. You and I have had conversations and we've put them off to another day and time about how AI is going to affect practice. Already, AI is analyzing x-rays, taking all the information we know about biomechanics of the spine, applying it to where patients need care. And I've said this in the seminar, they're already doing this in medicine. In fact, 2 months ago, there was the first AI totally robotic spinal laminectomy of spinal surgery with no doctors involved at all. It was all roboticized. If they can do that, they can certainly adjust. They certainly will be able to analyze. And we've already done reports of findings where we have 3 people in the room, the patient, the doctor, and Grok AI. And Grok participates, jumps in, talks about options, just like there's a third party sitting in the room. So the only reason why this hasn't happened in chiropractic yet is we're too small. I hope this is okay. They don't give a shit about us, right? But that doesn't mean that it's not coming. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of things that may be the bad and the ugly of AI in chiropractic. But relative to education, I think there's nothing but the possibility of uphill, unless you're already a school or a faculty member at an existing school, and you're going to find out how it impacts you, which unfortunately we try to keep out of those politics, but they will creep in.
That's going to happen across the board in all of education. Wouldn't you agree? This is not exposed to chiropractic. universal, all of society. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it, trucks are driving now between Houston and Dallas with no drivers. They can go 24 hours a day. They don't have to stop every 8 hours and rest. Homes are being built three-dimensionally from computers. I mean, we could just go on down the line. IBM just laid off 8,000 workers in their HR departments because they got one chat bot that could do it better than 8,000 people. Amazon with their dark grocery stores just laid off, what was it, 15, 16,000 people, and more are coming. So this isn't going to be unique to chiropractic. In fact, one other quick comment just on this, because you and I both think that we have great hope for this. I don't want to get too in the weeds, but they just put a computer program up against 22 of the top medical specialists in the world working together. They gave them the 302 most difficult cases that JAMA keeps. The medical doctors were in the low 20 percentile of working together, getting the correct diagnosis. And the AI, the chatbot, was right at 90%. I think it was 93% accuracy. So what need is there? If you're a medical doctor, if you can listen to the patient's symptoms, come up with all the information and knowledge, and then be able to recommend, if you're a medical doctor, a course of care without having to worry about a drug rep, selling you their most recent drug or a drug you've used for 40 years and you're just used to it. You follow me? We're going to see this in every field, not just chiropractic.
Yeah, I even more would be concerned if I were a medical doctor about the profession no longer existing.
100%.
Because all it is an algorithm and a dispenser of a drug, surgery, etc. At least I'd like to think chiropractic for the foreseeable future will remain some level of done by hand. As we close up,
but let me make a comment about that, because I know it happened yesterday. Go back and listen to my piece on MLIQ and AI in the app, because we handle that. What will be the role of the chiropractor? I covered that in that presentation, and it's not going to be what we've done in the past. And by the way, we already have instruments that adjust the spine. They're just not roboticized. Yeah. You follow me? I don't think the hands-on, if we're selling knowledge and skill set, if that's all we have to sell, which is what you're saying, medicine, all they have to sell is knowledge and skill set, AI is going to do both those things better. We're going to have to be something different than just someone that has knowledge and can provide a skill set, an adjustment, because those can all be roboticized and do it better, right? Go listen to my thing the other day. We'll talk about what it is.
Well, let's close up in our final minutes together. Leave us with a message of hope and inspiration for the future. You are the most experienced person I know in our field. You're the most visionary person I've known, predicting the future and in many ways creating it. What should we be hopeful for as we look to the future of our chiropractic profession and the impact AI is going to have on it?
Yeah, I think we're at a point where we have the opportunity. There's two extremes in AI. One is nobody's going to have a job. Everybody's going to be out of work. It'll be chaos in society. The other extreme is, and we see this so much with chiropractors, I'll just wait it out. I waited out insurance. Yeah, it changed things. I waited out the internet. I waited out computers. This isn't going to be this. You can't wait out AI in this particular case. You're either going to be wiped out by it or you're going to be in the game. And if you're in the game, there's some great hope, right? Better chiropractors, better educational training, the ability to use AI to make better analysis of the patient and care options for the patient, right? In the most effective way. The ability to help patients lay out a chiropractic lifestyle, not just the adjustment, right? They need guides, not skill. Yes, now they need us for skill set to move a bone, so to speak, or stimulate the nervous system. But the bottom line is, what they need from us is be able to take all the massive information coming at them and help them put that together into a lifestyle that makes sense. You follow me? That chiropractic is at the core of. So we're going to be able to train people to be able to do that, to access AI, to provide better care for patients, to be better chiropractors, to understand the spine and the nervous system, in the body more effectively. And we're going to be able to do that all over the world. All we need is a computer and a clinic somewhere for people to get the skill set training in. So, this is why I'm a big fan of Christine Cunliffe and what she's doing at the McTimoney School in England, right? McTimoney School sort of they started in the 30s, took the hit for a long time because they offered weekend education. And of course, the Socratic method hates weekend education. They obviously then moved over the decades to more traditional education, but kept that whole notion of being able to train on your schedule, not necessarily our schedule. So they have multiple curriculum tracks. And so Christina also has, like you and I, a great passion for seeing chiropractic around the world. And since her school is accredited, wherever she opens up, that school as a branch is automatically accredited. But she's opening up all over the world. So we opened up in Hong Kong, Madrid, Ireland just is opening its first class. Rome is next, Poland. So she's on the track, and I just spent some time with her. We get together frequently. She is absolutely 100% committed to finding a way to get to this alpha school model for chiropractic education, because her brain is already into it, and she has the passion like you and me to get it done. So I think there's some great hope for chiropractic around the world. And I think the AI model is going to give us the skill sets to do it. In fact, if I have a plea, I don't have anything to sell here, but Ireland's getting ready to open up. If you're a chiropractor in Ireland or that part of the world, get in touch with the McTimoney College and get your students into that school that's opening up. So it's a great, great option. One last comment, and I appreciate your shout out to me, but I was looking at our mission statement that we wrote when I left life and started MLIQ, the business, and some other things we're doing. And the first line says, we're master strategists and designers of the future. We're visionaries producing disruptive innovation. We're crazy enough to think we can change the world and committed enough to actually making it happen. And so as long as I get to keep participating in that, in this case, re-strategizing education, how chiropractors practice, I'm one happy puppy as I'm headed to the end.
I love it. Now, I think I speak on behalf of tens of thousands of chiropractors, probably millions of people, when I say thank you. Thanks for your service, for what you've done over the many decades, for the impact you've had through the different phases of your career. And besides the impact it's had on me personally, I know it's affected many, 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 many people in the world, in our profession, and so on. So I hope you keep it up. Thank you for pushing the envelope as far as it can possibly go, always looking ahead at the future, at the horizon, and sort of bringing it back to us to digest it, try to make sense of it, and figure out what next steps we should be taking in our practices, in our lives. And thank you for all you've done.
For both of us, it's a joy and a curse to have to do this. So I appreciate partnering up with you on all the things we've done as we move chiropractic forward.
Right on. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this session at the Chiro AI Summit. Stay tuned for more. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Have a great day, everyone.
Our next speaker is Dr. Sherry McAllister. Now, Dr. Sherry McAllister is someone I've known for many years now and has really been doing an amazing job being the spokesperson for the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress, and in many cases for our profession. She's done just an outstanding job breaking barriers, breaking ceilings, so to speak, bringing our profession to new places. Please enjoy a conversation with Dr. Sherry McAllister and enjoy all that she is doing for our profession to help our future in chiropractic progress. Enjoy Dr. Sherry McAllister.
Welcome and thank you for joining me during this very short presentation that I hope will inspire you. I'm Dr. Sherry McAllister, the president of the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress, and I am delighted to share something very special with you. But first, I want to sincerely thank Dr. Jeff Langmaid, who made this opportunity possible for me to share with you today. So what am I going to share? Well, let's jump right in and talk about what that is. First, I want to just have you think for a moment, what would it be like if this holiday season, millions of people walk into a movie theater, they sit down with their popcorn, and before the film even begins, they see a message that tells them that there's a stronger, sharper life ahead? What if millions of consumers can see us, chiropractic care, and the essential steps that it takes to unlock that longevity? What if the message is tied to a double #1 best-selling book on Barnes & Noble's and Amazon, recognized in multiple categories, reviewed by Kirkus and Seattle Book Review as uplifting, sensible, and transformative, an approach to health that how could you not see the benefits of? Now, as I always start my presentations, I first want to say thank you to these amazing sponsors who always help the foundation make progress. And for the 39,000 of you out there, thank you for making progress with us and believing in us every step of the way. So what is it that we're talking about? Well, thanks to Standard Process, Foot Levelers, NCMIC, and the National Board of Chiropractic Examiners, we have come up with a Forbes book that explains the why. Why see a chiropractor? Now, this is a very important message, and it's a message that we cannot lose sight of. And what if the profession was responsible for really going out to see the consumers? And we were actually hoping that the first time chiropractic is seen as a mainstream approach rather than still the small minority. And that, I think, is our opportunity. And this is happening right now. Right now, we have a fantastic opportunity to share chiropractic like we have never had before. This is going to be seen in the theaters. It's a book that has a trailer attached during the busiest times of the year. And that, I think, is going to be one of the most significant pieces because we want to bring chiropractic to the public. And we will be seeing, as you can see on the screens, 70 theaters across 10 states. That's thousands and thousands of screens that are going to show chiropractic. It's going to be going from November 3rd, we've already started, to January 25th. Some of these hopefully will be like Avatar and Wicked, those really great movies that are going to be coming out during the holidays, and they're going to see a movie trailer. I want to thank all those states that came along on the ride with us. And I'd love to show you the trailer that is going to happen.
Feeling out of balance, stressed, disconnected from your best self? In Adjusted Reality, Dr. Sherry McAllister reveals how small, science-backed shifts in how you move, think, and live can create powerful, lasting health transformations. It's not just a book, it's your roadmap to a healthier, more aligned you. Adjusted Reality, published by Forbes Books. Real science, real stories, real change. Get your copy today and start living in better balance.
Now, as I talked about that book and how the book is going to generate a journey for these new patients that have not seen you yet, listen, every single book has a Find a Doctor directory, and I hope that you know we are doing this for you, we are doing this with you, and this is all about you. The opportunity exists, a book that explains why people should see a chiropractor. A profession that represents the how, the hands-on, the experience, the care that changes lives that you give every single day. And as we roll this out in the National Movie Theater campaign, it's going to be running during the highest traffic season of the year. Millions of Americans who have never considered chiropractic will be exposed to whole being care, the newest science about the nervous system, the posture and movement, alignment is a daily habit, and seeking care. much better than the drug approach that has been given that has ravaged the nation, and the opioid epidemic that we have seen so sadly across America. And I want to share with you what happened when we shared it with the youth, and they gave this unpaid regarding the book, how they saw adjusted reality in their lives after they read it.
It gave me a better understanding of chiropractic, and it made me realize how much chiropractors support the way that the body heals.
Chiropractors are not just here to crack your spine, they're interested in you as a whole being.
The book explains greatly the roles of chiropractors and how much they really put the patient in control with the whole being.
Making sure that you're healthy with your sleep and what you're putting into your body, and then how they're adjusting you on top of that as well.
It gave me a better understanding by showing me different physical, emotional, and social factors that can factor into our well-being.
I thought it was very easy to understand.
You can have pain in a place, but that might not be the cause or the root area of the pain originating.
The most interesting thing I learned from the book was about how much a back surgery could take somebody's daily life apart.
You got to find the root problem of the cause to be able to completely fix the pain so that it's not a bandage fix.
I think it gave a good introduction of how many factors there are into whole health.
Everybody should read this book. Too many people these days fall into the trap of getting another medication for the next pain that they have, or the doctor providing another medication for a side effect from another medication. So you're taking 6 to 8 pills a day, and it feels like you have no other option to relieve pain.
I do think that my friends and family should read this book.
It can make a huge difference in your life.
The book empowered me to better explain chiropractic by showing me how different ways chiropractors are able to function and process different things.
Now, why does this matter to you? When chiropractors actually see the best part of getting a movement out, one of the things that I think is going to be very helpful is chiropractic becomes visible in mainstream. And when it becomes visible in mainstream, that's when students choose chiropractic. Parents ask for chiropractic. Guidance counselors recommend chiropractic, and communities see chiropractic care first, not last. We've already seen schools reaching out, junior high, high schools, colleges, libraries, curriculum directors, guidance officers. It's very, very exciting. And as you can see on this screen, well, you can get your 10 book bundle buy just by going and scanning that QR code on the screen. 10 books, because we know the book explains the why see a chiropractor. You are the how. How will you change their lives? And you already know what you do is so very effective. And when you get that book, you'll be able to get Adjusted Reality, the Impact Toolkit, also available on that particular screen. When you scan that code, f4cp.org/adjusted reality, you will go get your book bundle buy. Make sure you use the 10-pack code reality10 to get 50% off. Get those 10 books, and then you'll get an impact toolkit that you can download. It contains infographics, toolkits, resources such as videos and tip sheets. It's just a really great way to implement adjusted reality into your practice. And it's really everything that you need to be able to market it. And you'll see on the screen there that adjusted reality has white papers and all sorts of great moments for you to get a hold of. Now, we're also going to be in the airport, which is really cool. So this holiday season, we're going to be in the airport. We're going to be in the movie theaters. We're going to be everywhere. But will we be in your office? Will you be getting this out to your friends and your family during the holiday season? I certainly hope so. Because why this matters to you is we have to get these class books out there. And one of the pieces that happened was we ended up getting not just one sticker, #1 Amazon bestselling in multiple categories, but also Barnes & Noble's #1 bestseller. That means that this book is hitting the right target and The public is seeing it. Kirkus and Seattle Review, as you can see on here, they adopted it as a fundamental and sustainable, meaningful way to get out the message on taking care of health. And how do you use this book? Well, one of our members that I want to give a shout out to, Dr. Sherrier, that he went and he delivered it right to the students. He delivered it right to the high school. He delivered it right to the junior high. And what did he get? Well, he met with the director of curriculum, administrator, and principal of Woodland High School. And they are open to implementing a class with their health class covering topics from adjusted reality. This is a very exciting piece. There's also potential to hold a school assembly and do a presentation on a larger scale. So if you would like to donate a class set of the books, just like Dr. Sherrier did, and have it be an annual basis that they can talk about health, how cool would that be? So I want to remind you, when you scan that code, yes, it is. It's right there for you. You can get this out to your own community. Why do this? Because this is the time where we need to all come together. When adjusted reality spreads globally, demand for chiropractic increases, student enrollment rises, professional credibility strengthens, policy and healthcare decisions makers will take notice. Media outlets are already beginning to see chiropractic voices popping up all over the place, and research. Funding it becomes more attainable. This book and this movement positions chiropractic as preventative, performance enhancing, longevity focused, whole being care leaders. That's who you are. We stop being seen just as the back pain profession, and we start being recognized as those that optimize performance and the alignment experts, the leaders of whole being care. Now, this movement is already underway. We have movie theaters, schools adopting content, libraries opening the door to adjusted reality, social media campaigns already taking off. We have reviewers calling adjusted reality, quote, essential and transformative. Students engaging with topics like posture and breathing and movement and contentment. It is a very, very exciting time. And I want to really just ask you, will you come on this journey with us? Will you start asking the questions that so many others are really thinking about, which is, how do we make our profession grow? How do we see more patients? And yes, of course, you deserve to be paid more. People are starting to take notice, and they're starting to say things like, I never knew I needed this. Imagine millions of people saying that. Imagine the next generation growing up really focused on chiropractic care. And of course, people saying, of course I have a chiropractor. Why wouldn't I? So then the ask, will you invest in this beautiful profession? So the pivotal question is, will you help seize this moment? Not for me, not even for the foundation, but for the students who don't yet know chiropractic is their calling, the families who are searching for answers, the communities desperate for a drug-free solution, in the profession that deserves recognition, growth, and respect. We're asking you to invest in adjusted reality into the junior highs, the high schools, the colleges, the guidance counselors, the libraries, healthcare classes, campus programs. A single book in a guidance counselor's office can redirect a student's future. A class set can influence generations. A theater campaign can shift national perspective. In closing, what I really want to say, if we do nothing, this moment will pass. But if we take action together, chiropractic becomes a first choice. Students' enrollment grows, and communities become healthier, and our profession gains the visibility it deserves. Imagine 10 years from now, someone saying, I became a chiropractor because someone gave our school the adjusted reality book. That, my friends, is how legacies are built. Come on the journey with me. cp.org/adjusted reality. The 10-pack book bundle is waiting for you. This is the holiday season. It's time to give back. I sincerely thank you and look forward to seeing you in person around the country soon.
Our next speaker is someone I think you're really going to appreciate hearing from, and that's my good friend, Dr. Ray Foxworth. Dr. Ray has started and has been running one of the most important businesses many of you have heard of, but many of you aren't really sure you understand how this works. So Dr. Ray Foxworth has spent some time sharing with us the importance of compliance, the importance of making sure that you have transparent pricing if you take or if you bill insurance and you discount fees for people that don't have insurance. This is a really important conversation you're going to want to make sure that you pay attention to and implement. Super important, super great guy. Thanks so much for being a part of this, Dr. Ray Foxworth. Please enjoy this conversation about the future of chiropractic and AI with my friend, Dr. Ray Foxworth and ChiroHealthUSA. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another session for the Chiro AI Summit. I'm Dr. Jason Deitch, and of course, I am here with my very good friend, Dr. Ray Foxworth. Ray, it's great to see you.
How are you, my man?
I'm doing fantastic. If you don't know, Ray is the founder of ChiroHealthUSA, which is ChiroHealthUSA. Most everybody knows about ChiroHealthUSA, but what we want to talk about today is really the details of why not everybody should just know about it, but almost everybody should be using it. And the question some people might be asking, well, what does that have to do with AI? And I'm going to start the conversation, Ray, with, I don't know, you didn't know I was going to do this, but I went ahead to ChatGPT and I asked it a very simple question. I said, is it legal for me to offer my patients discounts of more than 15% if I also bill insurance? And so many chiropractors I know, I think that is a common thing to do. You bill insurance, whatever you bill insurance, and then people that either don't have insurance, use their insurance, or have insurance but have such high deductibles that it's basically the same as paying out of pocket. The question becomes, how do you sort of manage both of those payers? And most chiropractors are doing it wrong. So I went ahead, I went to AI. I encourage all of you watching to do exactly this for yourself, because you're going to learn something about whether or not your fee schedule is compliant or not. And Ray, that's what I really want you to unpack for people here, for everybody today, is understanding, is this a big deal? Is it just a minor nuisance? Why should chiropractors, number one, make sure that their fee schedules are compliant? I challenge you all to go to any AI you like and ask the question, if you bill insurance and you offer discounts of more than 15%, that's considered no-go. ChatGPT gave me an extensive answer as to why it's a no-go: anti-kickback laws, inducements, lack of compliance with both state laws, potentially federal laws, potentially being invalidating to whatever insurance contracts you might have. This is your show, not mine, but that's what I learned. Let me kick it over to you and help everybody understand what they don't yet understand, which is, one, why are they not doing this legally, and how easy is it to do this legally?
Yeah. I'll try to keep it short and succinct. It's like, let me give you my elevator pitch, but I'm going to have to hit the pause button. Probably the best way to describe this is to simply tell my story. I got reported to my state attorney general, and I'm a guy who follows the rules. I mean, I was on the state board of health at that time. I mean, I had a cash patient. I'm charging $35 or $40 a visit. I'm happy. She's happy. Her family's happy. 3 months later, she's in an auto accident. I bill my actual fees because I have a PI fee, a workers' comp fee, a mother, father, sister, brother fee, by 10 visits. You know the drill.
Yep.
I bill my actual fees out to the insurance company. She comes back in a couple of weeks. Me and my staff walk into the room, and there's this sweet little lady I'm taking care of for years with her papers wadded up in her hand, her explanation of benefits, and she walks over to me, pokes me in the damn chest, and says, "Doc, I saw what you charged my insurance company for my treatment. I know what you charge me. You're the reason I can't afford health insurance. What a kick in the gut or even below.
I've had a similar experience happen.
So that's what made me look at, why the hell is it okay for Blue Cross, Aetna, and Cigna to all pay me a different fee, and that's perfectly legal, but I can't have a fee for my Medicare, for their non-covered services, for my underinsured, or patients with limited benefits? And the reality is you can. And the reason you can is because of this acronym. Write it down, DMPO. It stands for Discount Medical Plan Organization. Why is that important? Because it's regulated by the Department of Insurance, and it follows the contractual network discount, just like Blue Cross, Aetna, and Cigna does. And so if a patient joins a DMPO, that entitles them to contractual network discounts. And you can spend the years that I did. I'm a recovering medical compliance specialist. And I will tell you, I've studied so much about dual fee schedules, inducement violations, anti-kickback, false claims act, time of service discounts, improper time of service discounts. And it's like, how do I just make all this bullshit go away? And the answer is the DMPO. The moment your patient joins a DMPO, you can set discounts that your office sets. We don't dictate those. You can offer the discounts, and now you can get paid well when insurance is available and still keep care affordable for all those other patients. And I really want to stress this point, Jason. Before we jumped on, I shared a slide with you. There was a spreadsheet. I've got over 7,000 doctors' fee schedules in our database. Average chiropractor is giving away between 50% discount on the first visit, if they're cash, and about a 30% discount for routine office visits. That does not fall in that 5 to 15% range, which the OIG has said is considered reasonable. It also, you have to understand that the average cost of doing billing in a chiropractor's office is about 5 to 7%. So you're kind of hedging your bets if you get up to 15. The key is it has to be related to your actual cost of doing billing. So if you're staying in that 5 to 15, we feel like you're okay. But by having those fee schedules, here's what we did. We looked at a published workers' comp fee schedule in the state of Texas. And can you believe that 100% of the clinics that we surveyed were not even charging what workers' comp allowed for every E&M code? About 50% were not charging what the allowable was for their CMT codes, and about 70% were not charging what was allowable on their x-rays and therapy codes. And so I'm like, damn, docs, if you want to raise, go look at the fee schedules that are out there, and don't you think you should be paid at least what the insurance company thinks you're worth? So the real benefit of joining a DMPO is it gives us the luxury of, here's my best payers. My fee should be at that or above, because I no longer have to worry about me raising my fees and it negatively impacting my cash, underinsured, limited benefits patients. And let's face it, you've dealt with docs as long as I have. You've counseled with them. I am dumbfounded at the number of doctors that do not routinely look at their fee schedule, their cost of delivering care, and adjusting their fee schedules. I don't know about you, but my expenses went through the frickin' roof during COVID, and here we were still charging what we were charging 5 years ago. So guess what, docs? Everything's going up except your income. And that can be fixed. Charge what's allowable, keep it affordable through a discount medical plan, and or you can go through the training to get your medical compliance specialist degree and get a lot of therapy.
Exactly. This is such an important conversation, Ray, and I'm really glad we're having it. One of the really valuable parts about AI, this is an AI summit, is that it sort of knows everything. And so to use that as a source to say, am I doing this right or not, is the first place to go. When I did that, it gave me an extensive explanation of what I'm doing wrong
and what I need to do right. And I want to hit on what you said, because ChatGPT didn't get to this part. What I just heard you say, and I hope everybody listening is hearing it too, is that you could and likely should be raising your fees immediately if you bill insurance. Meaning, you showed me that spreadsheet. There was a line, a row, a column, I guess, in the spreadsheet that said allowable billable amount. That is what is allowable. And I think 90%, or it was 100% of the docs were less than the allowable amount.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. I want to make sure everybody's hearing what we're saying. This isn't just be a good person because it's good to be a good person. It is, that's true. What we're also saying is that you're undercharging the insurance companies, likely because you're trying to make your fees affordable for direct pay or cash pay patients. And so you're losing on both sides. You end up getting the most amount from the insurance companies, which would allow you to then afford to discount your fees better. You can get the best of both worlds, but there's only one way to do that legally, and that is to make sure that if they are not using their insurance, that they are part of, I've learned it as a legal discount network, which is exactly what ChiroHealthUSA, ChiroHealthUSA is. I'll point out, when I was in practice basically 20 plus years ago, I did exactly this to make sure it was clear. This isn't just a new idea. I did this in practice. This is one of those things that makes it easy for you, easy for your staff, and easy for your patients to be able to understand how you charge. Ray, I want to go there for a second, because one of the things we looked at was that I know you have a risk assessment survey, which I took. One of the important questions
by the way you failed.
I failed terribly. I would 100% not compliant. And it's good to know that.
Yeah, you got to be looking out for the black helicopters now.
Exactly. All right. But the key was that you can and should be charging what you can to the insurance companies. You should be legally, through a legal discount network, be giving the discounts that are appropriate to give to your people. The key that you mentioned also was being able to tell people how much it costs when they call your office. This is one of those sort of obscure, does this really matter? And the answer is, it might be the number one most important question people ask your practice that you likely are answering terribly incorrectly. Because if people call your practice and they go, how much is it to come to your practice? And the staff is trying to say, it depends. Ray, we talked about this. What, in your experience, 7,000 practices plus, decades of experience, we talked about the difference between calling a practice that answers the question, how much does it cost? And they say, it depends, with the ability to say, here's how much it costs. And the reason, I'll just point out real quick, is the reason you want to be able to tell people how much it costs, you want to be transparent with your pricing, is that it's impossible for people to make a buying decision if they don't know what the cost of it is. Ray, you've got a extensive experience here.
I think the key is understanding that patients are not just patients, but they are healthcare consumers. And every one of us, if we were going to go buy a new set of tires and we called the tire store and we said, how much is a set of, P250 R14s? And they said, well, it depends on how you're paying for it. We'd probably think they'd lost their mind. But when patients call and ask how much is the first visit, and I've always said we break out into the chiropractic two-step. Well, Ms. Jones, it all depends on what the doctor finds necessary. I'll be happy to, you get the drill, the script. But in the end, we never answered their question. And I keep leaning on Larry Markson. The reason we can't answer that question is because our clinics have a PI fee, a workers' comp fee, a mother, father, sister, brother fee, an insurance fee, a hardship fee, a buy 10 visits and get one free fee. That bullshit needs to go away.
Yeah.
Docs, you need one fee that applies to everyone. I did not say everybody pays the same, but your billing charge, you should have one fee. It applies to every service for every patient. And then they might be entitled to a discount if you're in their health plan, Blue Cross, Aetna, Cigna. If it's a mandated fee schedule, Medicare, Medicaid, in some states, PI and workers' comp, or if they're part of a discount medical plan, and in our plan, it's $49 a year, covers the patient and their immediate family. And the reality is they often save that $49 on the very first visit, or they meet a financial hardship. And so you can go look at all the fancy financial policies out there, but the reality is if you have that as a financial policy, there's not a patient that walks in your office that isn't addressed by that simplistic policy. And you can go to our website and get it. Just ask for the BJ Palmer financial policy. But that's really critical. Everybody recently remembers the law that passed where we had to have full disclosure to patients about fees. It was called the No Surprise Act. Why do you need a No Surprise Act? Because people were getting surprised as hell at what their bills were. And so people expect to have transparency and to know. And not just in chiropractic, but I've done the research in other businesses. One of the number one reasons people stop doing business with any company is over uncertainty about billing and payment. So have the conversation. It is as critical. We do a great job on our clinical reported findings, but so many clinics, it blows my mind, do not have a formal knee-to-knee, eyeball-to-eyeball over the financial policy. And that, hands down, is one of the primary reasons people will drop out of care. But here's the kicker. One of the primary complaints to your board of examiners, not over your clinical care, financial policies, prepays, rebates. It's one of the primary causes of frivolous lawsuits, according to NCMIC, ChiroSecure, all of them, dollars and cents. So clean up your financial policy. It's not that complicated. And again, you can worry about all the rules and regulations, or you can just say, to hell with it. I want to use a DMPO, and then all that, like I said, all that crap goes away.
It's a problem almost everyone is suffering from. Let me be clear. If you bill insurance and also simultaneously have patients that you offer discounts of more than 15% to, you're doing it wrong. You are not compliant.
You are certainty.
It is illegal. Now, a lot of people, Ray, I can think out loud with people that go, I've been doing it for years. Now, I'm not going to get caught. But what you taught me that I really wasn't aware of was, I would say, most people, I don't know anybody who's gotten caught for that. But what you said that was enlightening to me, because what has happened to me, and just about anybody who's watching who does bill insurance, is I have gotten record requests from insurance companies, okay? Which is sort of the knock on the door for a full audit. Is that right? And so the fee schedule issue may not be the primary issue, but when an insurance company reaches out with a request for records, that is their way of saying, let's see if there's a way that we can either not pay you, and maybe even better, let's see if there's a way we can get some money back. That's the system we're dealing with. So maybe you've got a lot more experience than I do on this. When I hear it, I'm like, yeah, no, thanks. I don't want to go there. But for those that don't do it the right way, maybe share some of your, I guess I'll say, horror stories about those that thought they were doing it fine. They got a records request for something that was about clinical care. But as you showed me, when you get a records request, it's not only the clinical notes, it's the financial records. And that all of a sudden opens up Pandora's box to find the issues they wouldn't have found if they weren't there before. Explain more.
And part of the reason they ask questions about the financial arrangements that you have with patients, I was just in Florida for their event. And, I'm sitting in a room of 300 doctors there, and I asked them, do they know about the law 458.7.12? Of course, nobody does, but that law is replicated in many, many states, and it very simply says you may not charge more to an insurance company than you do to a private pay patient. And if I were to ask for for everybody to raise their hand, guess what? Probably most everybody's hands go up. So if you're an insurance company and you are looking at, they can only raise premium so high, only raise deductible so high. So the new pot of gold is recoupment. And at one point, for every dollar that the OIG spent in healthcare fraud investigation, they got $17 back. Now, I don't know about you, but if I got to find a slot machine that every time I put a buck in, I got 17 back, I do that deal all day long.
Yeah.
Good news for us is now they get $3 for every dollar they put in. Well, still, you get a 300% return on doing audits. That's a great day. So that we're not going to see less of them. We actually will see more, especially with all the fraud, waste, and abuse that's occurring. So what I shared with you, I'll share with the audience what I shared with you earlier. One of the easiest ways, and like I said, I cannot tell you, other than me, that I reported in my AG, for just having a dual fee schedule. What tends to happen is once their foot is in the door, now they have the ability to begin to look at everything else you're doing in your office. And so what I shared with you was a records request from Aetna. Guys, you're getting these every day in your office, and they're on a fishing expedition. So it does ask for clinical records. It asks for abbreviations. It asks for the patient history. But one of the items it asks for is patient financial records. And as I ask people, what the hell does patient financial records have to do with determining medical necessity? Not a damn thing. It is a hook. And if your CA, God bless them, they fill out all of our paperwork for it. We don't look at it that much. We should. If it specifically asks, do you waive deductibles or copays? If you answer yes to that, it's a False Claims Act. It's an inducement violation. They ask, do you offer any special discounts to your patients? So they're asking questions about your financial policy. And basically they're saying, hey, Ray, are you creating inducements? Are you creating any kickback? And so if my CA is filling that out, they tend to think of the exceptions rather than the rule. And so while I've never told Sally Sunshine that, oh, we waive deductibles for our patients, she knows that I take care of Miss Sally or Miss Susie, and I don't charge her a deductible. Her husband died. She's on a fixed income. But whatever the reasons, it's me being a nice guy. But if she answers yes to that question, it just goes into the pile of follow-up. But if you got that exact same questionnaire and you said the only time we offer a discount is when it's part of a contractual network discount, I'm in your health plan or I'm not, part of a mandated fee schedule, part of a DMPO, or a financial hardship, guess which stack you go in? Leave them alone. They know what the hell they're doing. So it is really a risk management tool. It's a revenue generating tool, because if you do raise your fees because you're no longer concerned about any negative impact it would have on those that don't have coverage, it literally becomes a no-brainer. Why would you not do it? And here's the solution.
Yeah.
Go 100% cash. And I laugh at a lot of people that tell me that they're cash.
Yeah.
Because when I ask the question, you've been taking care of Miss Jones, she's a cash patient? Yeah. If she gets involved in an auto accident, are you referring her out? No. You're not a cash practice. You're predominantly cash, but the moment you cross foot over, now you've got a problem with the dual fee schedules that charge them more than insurance and cash. And like I said, you can worry about all this stuff. Go get your certification as a medical compliance officer, or have your patients join. I love this explanation. It's a it's a Sam's Club for healthcare. It's a Costco for healthcare. People understand that. That's why they don't bat an eye when they see their savings right off the bat. And most important thing is, Jason, you got some peace of mind. You're not worried about who the next patient is. Are they an auditor? Are they an investigator?
There's just no reason not to do this the right way. People do get in trouble for this. Again, there's not a reason to not do it the right way. And there's a very good reason to do it the right way. And that, again, is to make sure you're charging the insurance companies what they allow you to charge. Most are not charging what you're allowed to charge because you're decreasing your fees so that people can afford it. You can have the best of both worlds if you do it right. And I also just want to make sure everybody's hearing that there's two places this is really important, Ray. We talked about one of them. When people call up and they go, how much is it to come to your practice? You can actually say a specific fee. When you're a member of ChiroHealthUSA, it's only X amount. And you can even bake in the cost of the membership into your first visit fee. So there's one number that includes the membership and the visit. That's the first place. The second visit, though, I want to make sure people understand, because Jeff and I are in the patient reactivation business. So when doctors send emails to their past patients saying, you're always welcome back to our practice, many of them are now including a welcome back offer. And in that welcome back offer, they're doing exactly this. They're saying, I know I need to make my price transparent to all of my past patients, because if I don't tell them how much it is to come back to me, chiropractors down the street are happy to market to them with a new patient special. If a patient has the choice to go, I know I can go to that person for this amount, or I can go back to, what's his name again, for I don't know how much. That's why most chiropractors are trading patients these days. They're not necessarily we're growing. They're just unfortunately going to the person that is transparent with their pricing and making it clear. How easy is it for docs to sort of get this started, get it implemented, do it the right way? And what kind of increase in their profits have you seen when they start going, okay, let me clean this up?
Okay. The two numbers I'll share with you is the doctors that we've worked with for years. The routine reporting we get is they see at least a 20% increase in their revenue. Now it's kind of counterintuitive. I'm joining a discount medical plan, but my revenue goes up. So that doesn't make any, as Aaron would say, that doesn't even make good nonsense. But the reality is, if you're charging what's allowable and you have a legal mechanism to help those that don't have coverage, that's why your revenue can go up almost immediately. And we've got like 4.3 million family members in our network. And about 50% of the people that join ChiroHealth, guess what they do next year?
Come again.
Again. And so you talk about retention and being able to keep care affordable. You know, when you got people who got $50 and $60 deductibles and they've got 12 visits, what tends to happen on the 13th visit? Insurance runs out, patient runs out. Well, from the patient's perspective, if their 12th visit is all that was covered, and on the 13th visit, you simply say, Ms. Jones, our average fees for a routine office visit are $95, unless you have one of those discount medical cards. Do you have one? She says, no, not a problem. We're part of ChiroHealth. You can join it for $49 instead of $95. It's $65. Would you like to do that? Oh, no, I'd rather pay the $95. It is literally all in how you present it, and it's a win for the patient, and it's a win for you as the doctor. Healthcare is the second most regulated entity in the United States, only behind the environment. And we do have to, when you get that license, you do have to play by the rules of your board of examiners, your managed care and PPO agreements, your state Department of Insurance, state attorney general, federal attorney general, and the OIG. And it's a lot to navigate. And here's the part that frustrated me when I was getting my certification. The damn laws are in conflict. Let me give you one example. The state of North Carolina, God bless the Board of Examiners, they tell their doctors they can give a 30% discount. Guess what? That's in violation of federal regulations. It is an inducement. It's not tied to bookkeeping savings. How does that happen? Because the Board of Examiners is not in the room with Blue Cross, not in the room with the Board of Examiners, not in the room with the OIG. There's just other chiropractors trying to help us navigate through our practices and doing things they think that are helping, when in fact you're having to make a decision. Do I want to get stabbed or shot? Whose rules do I follow? And my position is, don't worry about them. Just use an entity regulated by the Department of Insurance, just like Blue Cross, Aetna, and Cigna. And that's why here we are 18 years later, zero complaints, couple of challenges that just went away when we tell them we're a discount medical plan registered with the Department of Insurance, and there's nothing they can do because I'm using the same damn model they are.
That's exactly right. This is an easy one, ladies and gentlemen. This is, one of those no-brainers. You're hearing it, you can't unhear it. And Ray, confirm for me, plain ignorance isn't an option here. Oh, I didn't know. You can't. That there just isn't much leniency from these aggressive insurance companies to go, that's okay. We'll give you the first one, no problem. We'll turn our heads. They are actually looking for reasons to either not pay you or take money back. There's no reason not to protect yourself and make it easier for people to say, yes, not only do I want your care, but I can afford your care. You mentioned, we'll close up in just a moment, you mentioned the benefit that oftentimes when they start with you and they're part of the membership, they'll stay with you. The other part I want to bring up is that memberships, when they join, are for the entire family. So you're making it not only easy for the person who came to you, you're instantly making it easy for the entire rest of the family to be able to come to you at these legal discount prices as well. If you are looking to help more people and you want to make it affordable for those that don't have the benefits, while making sure you're maximizing your revenue from those that do have benefits, this is the one answer you want to come to the conclusion of, that ChiroHealthUSA is the way. The connection to AI is, go check it out. Go to ChatGPT. Ask if what you're doing is legal and compliant. I did it. You can see it for yourself. When you find out it's not legal and compliant, then make sure you go to ChiroHealthUSA.com or ChiroHealthUSA.com. Sign up, get started. There's plenty of tools.
Oh, and by the way, just for your audience,
yes,
there's no charge to join.
Okay.
Which has been the same way it has been for 18 years, but I wanted you to feel that
just for us. So there is no charge, and there are very creative ways that you can basically present your fees where it doesn't seem like you're charging more. It's like, again, a Costco card. Join a membership, save lots of money. Your savings will be far more than the cost of the membership. It's not difficult to understand. It keeps legal for you. Every time you get a request for records from an insurance company, assuming you're doing things clinically right, you don't have to worry any longer. You don't have to worry they're going to go, let's see what's in the trunk. What else are you hiding?
Yeah, what's that dripping out of your trunk?
Exactly. So do it the right way. Ray, I'll give you some final words as we close up so we can stay on time.
Sure. Since this is an AI conference, I do encourage you, docs, just go in there and ask questions about your financial policies, what you can and can't do, and see what the universe feeds back on that. I will also tell you that depending on which platform you're on, you tend to get information that might be skewed toward medical providers or hospitals or, ambulatory surgery centers. And so we put together, thanks to Johan Marin, our magician that's been with us for years. He had a passion for AI, and he came to me 4 years ago, and said, we really ought to have an AI platform specifically for chiropractic. And I thought, well, that's intriguing. What would that look like? And so what we were able to build is, think of a ChatGPT with a minor in chiropractic. So what we did is we loaded all of the information from our trusted resources, which is everybody you would recognize in the profession, your Kathy Mills-Changs, your Marty Kotlers, your Miles Bodson, and every entity out there that has a good reputation in this profession. We literally uploaded their information, their materials, told our bot, go here for the references. And so when you ask questions, You can ask questions to a general AI, or you can ask questions to one that really has a chiropractic focus. So I would and oh, by the way, we'll also make that free to your members, which is to every person in the profession. We look at that as just a service that we can provide back. So, I mean, if you're curious about, gee, should I be billing a 98940 or a 98941? What's the difference in the documentation I have to have? What are the clinical signs of a piriformis syndrome versus a gluteal tendinopathy? Go ask the question. So you can use it as a resource for your clinical education. I mean, how many of you have ever hired a CA and your biggest dread is training them? My God, just use Chiro AI and say, prepare me an instruction manual on how to run ultrasound, its indications and contraindications. Something that I played with it. I said, write me a series of 5 emails that are written in the voice that would appeal to a woman who has back pain related to pregnancy. And it came up with, oh, I know you're dealing with this, that, and the other. And then I said, write it in the voice of the husband who has a pregnant wife dealing with back pain. And guess what? It was an entirely different perspective, and it summarized with how to help your spouse that's pregnant with lower back pain. And then just for fun, I said, write that in the voice of Andrew Dice Clay, and I will not tell you what it said. I said, right,
Hickory dickory dock.
Yeah, hickory dickory dock. Your back is, yeah. And I said, write it in the voice of Shakespeare. My point is, there are so many different ways that you can use this, because you might run an ad for low back pain, but the words that you use, the way it's described, are entirely different for how it might appeal to a man versus a woman versus an athlete versus someone who's in retirement age. And so rather than just producing generic information that you're sending out or in your newsletters or whatever, really spend a few minutes and hone it down to speak to the target audiences that you have. Compliance manuals. I will not tell anyone to outsource their compliance to AI, because AI does have hallucinations. But the reality is, you can literally go, and I did this yesterday, outline me a compliance manual for a chiropractic office. And it literally goes to the OIG's website, goes through all the guidance that they provided, and provides you with a sample. So use this as a tool, but not as the gospel. And I would highly encourage anyone that is trying to make a legal decision about what they should do, use it as a resource to build your knowledge base, and then go get it okayed by someone who's actually a medical compliance specialist or attorney, just to be on the safe side. But that's free. Knock yourself out.
Go to chirohealthusa.com. You'll see a area that says Chiro AI. You can click on that, and it is a tremendous resource. I'll say thank you on behalf of the profession for investing in what it took to build it. This whole summit has been really about how the profession, our chiropractors, how schools, how associations, how businesses are going to integrate AI, and how it's going to change your practice, our profession, all of healthcare, our entire future. And this is one of those really important, I'll say, parts to make sure that you get right in your practice. It's about your fees. It's about staying legal. It's about making sure you're as profitable as possible. And it's about using AI in a way that can really give you the superpower, almost a super team, to be able to build the practice that you want by communicating with the people that you want in the style they want to be communicated.
Exactly.
That is probably better than any of us, no matter how emotionally intelligent you are. It just knows stuff and is pretty magical about it. Ray, thank you for all you do. I'll ask, do you have any final closing questions, and where do you want to send everybody to learn more?
The simplest thing to do is just go to ChiroHealthUSA. There's tabs there for providers, for patients. We have a ton of resources there from, again, our trusted consultants that we work with. Even though we're a discount medical plan, our lane is wide. We know a guy. If you're having issues with something, if you need help with something, we spend a lot of time helping folks with things that have nothing to do with discount medical plans. We've just built great relationships throughout the profession, and so just look at us as your go-to of, hey, I got a problem. I know a guy.
I got a guy.
Yeah. Get in touch with us.
Ray's your guy. I'm your guy. We're your guys. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching another session of the Chiro AI Summit. We hope you've enjoyed it, got a lot out of it. Make sure to check out ChiroHealthUSA, and maybe mention that you saw him on the summit. Let him know that, where you heard it from, and say hi for all of us. Ray, thank you for all you do. Thank you for all you've done for the profession. I can always throw in there that I know you're one of the most philanthropic people, let alone companies, in the profession. So let's acknowledge that as well. I appreciate you. I know much of the profession does as well. Thank you for all you do.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.
All right, I'd like to introduce to you our next speaker, Day 4, Leadership. Who else but the new leader of Life West Chiropractic College, my good friend, Dr. Peter Kevorkian. Please enjoy our great conversation.
Hello and welcome, everybody, to the Chiro AI Summit. Of course, I'm Dr. Jason Deitch, and I am here with the president of Life West Chiropractic College, someone I'm proud to call a good friend, Dr. Peter Kevorkian. Peter, thank you for making time to be part of our Chiro AI Summit. You are and have been a leader of the profession for many decades. You now have a new position as, congratulations, the president of Life West. Today, we're here talking about the future of the chiropractic profession, the impact AI will have, might have, we hope it has. Thanks for joining me today, and let's have a conversation about your vision, the school's vision, of the impact you think AI is going to have on the future of our profession. Thanks and welcome for being here with us.
Great to be here. Honored that you asked me to be part of this conference, and time is exciting. I don't know if you know, before I was a chiropractor, I was a civil engineer. So I'm a geek by nature, and so that's good and bad. The good part is I'm super comfortable with technology and computers and all that realm. The frustrating part is sometimes in environments I know more than I should, and everybody defaults to me and asks me the questions when they need to be seeing other people. So AI is an interesting world, and so when you said you were putting together an AI summit, my immediate default is, okay, well, what do they think they know? Because no matter what we talk about, what we think we know today is changing so rapidly. We have no idea what it's even going to look like 5 years from now. And I think that's the big piece of it. I've talked to a number of chiropractors who say, I don't need to worry about that. And it's almost like saying, oh, you don't need to worry about electricity. Electricity is part of our world. When we discovered electricity, it changed life in ways that we could never have imagined when they discovered it. When they created the printing press, they had no idea the impact that would have on the development of human consciousness. When the internet first, you had no idea. And AI is that and more, because it'll interface with everything that we do in our world. So part of me is super excited to see the things and possibilities that get created. I believe that we have very little to worry about as a profession because we have our hands. By the time AI is ready to deliver an adjustment, most of us that are watching this will be 6 feet under. And as a sidebar conversation to that, something that exists in chiropractic school today that didn't exist when I went to school, when you went to school, is an area that we call the Technology Training Center. And in the Technology Training Center, they learn about technologies that are available in practice to help analyze the spine. Things like surface EMG, thermography, etc. live there. But they also now have force plate tables. So you can actually put your forces into mannequins and it gives you immediate feedback in terms of how much depth you're doing, how if you lifted your contact before you thrusted, how quick the thrust was. And there's data that's been built into the computer from chiropractors. So they've had chiropractors give a sample adjustment to the lumbar spine, to the dorsal spine, to the atlas, so that it has data on how adjustments are delivered in various technical forms, so a student can see how it compares with a licensed doctor. So the technology is being utilized already in the curriculum to make it a better chiropractor. So I see students who go there and they practice and they get their muscle twitch down and they get everything right. They got that side, but the part that they don't have is what's it like to connect with the body? Because there is a difference between adjusting a mannequin and adjusting a human being. So the technology helps and it develops the musculature and the neurological connections there. But there's a component of what we do that's more than just delivering a thrust. It's sensing the physiology at that same moment in time. It's like a handshake. You could adjust a mannequin a gazillion times, but part of a handshake is knowing how that person is reacting, responding. And that isn't just from a machine way to measure it, but it's how two people are coming together. And that piece, AI will never replace. It has no resonant field around it. There's no qualitative depth to it, but it can accumulate data, integrate data, and spit back data quicker than the human brain is capable of doing it. We can do many things qualitatively, but a machine is going to be able to integrate things in a matter of seconds that will make our jobs easier in many ways. In terms of documentation, that's a given. I mean, computers have already created greater efficiency in terms of documentation. AI is going to take that to a whole other level. In terms of office management procedures, which I'm sure you've had people much more knowledgeable than me as part of this AI summit, that's happening. And no matter what you're doing today, get ready. It's going to change. It's going to look different a year from now. It's going to look different 5 years from now. But the thing that people are going to want more than anything, like you and I were talking before we got on the call, is they're going to want the human connection. We are sentient beings and touchy, feely beings. And that is something that we will offer that no other healthcare provider provides in that same depth.
In many places, we see, it's consistent that things that are handmade are a premium. They're exclusive. They're more valuable if it's handmade. And handmade healthcare certainly can apply to that. As more and more people are moving towards technology, there will likely be a greater demand for actual human touch. So let's break this down. We can go in a lot of different areas and spend a lot of time going into it, but you're in the unique position to really speak to how AI is going to affect the profession on multiple levels. You've sort of scratched on how you're using it in school and education. Is there more that you see happening in education in AI? Let's go there. Yeah,
absolutely. So I see AI happen from the place that I sit as president of the college. I think AI is going to make our operational side a hell of a lot more efficient, much more integrated, be able to accumulate information and data, be able to process the data. Everything in higher ed is built around data and data-driven decisions. We'll be able to do that. It would be a snail's pace to what it's going to look like a year from now. So I'm super excited about that, creating greater efficiency in terms of how we operationally can deliver the program. Everything, even like recruitment and building connection with alumni, will become so much more efficient and better done. So I'm super excited about that dimension of things. I also believe that the delivery of the program is going to become better. As instructors, rather than feeling threatened by AI, that the students are going to use AI to give answers rather than doing it authentically, from their own capabilities. I think it's going to make the delivery of the program even better. And from the pedagogical side, from the student side, I think the data side of it is going to be so much better for them. AI is going to be able to give them quizzes, make sure that they're prepared for tests better. They'll be able to be a storehouse of information, can create 3D models, and from the clinical side, be able to accumulate data, everything from postural data as well as patient history data. All of that stuff is going to be available to you and integrated for you so much better. So you're going to be doing the stuff that you really need to do, which is connect person to person, be able to communicate effectively. Be able to shift the paradigm of healthcare better. I mean, more than ever, the world needs to be looking at their bodies differently. I want to graduate vitalistically minded chiropractors to be the leaders in healthcare in the community. More than ever, people are wanting to take care of themselves and do true healthcare and not just crisis care. So AI will do the crisis care side of it better than ever in providing the data. Medicine, you won't need medical doctors. A machine will give you a diagnosis and tell you what supplements or treatments and drugs to take. It will help us in terms of determining when, where, or how to adjust people. They can't deliver the adjustment. And there's a qualitative connection that we're going to have to the physiology that a machine cannot yet measure. And I don't believe ever will be able to measure that connection that you have when two souls, two spirits have come together. So in terms of developing proficiencies and skills as developing their technique, it will enhance the delivery of that. But more than anything, it's going to give space in the curriculum for us to ensure that we're creating a vitalist, that we're creating somebody who can communicate, that we're creating somebody who knows how to make a connection and develop their skills of empathy and compassion as they're delivering their service. So we can work on the real needs of what healthcare needs out there than worrying about a technician. The technical side of it, we're going to do better than ever before. And AI is going to help support that so that we can allow the healer, if you will, bad word, but I know you know what it is, to come and come forth in that person.
Are you finding that the faculty and students and even other chiropractors, are they more fearful of AI or more excited about AI?
Students are using, ChatGPT or Grok or whatever, to get answers and stuff, and it's a study aid. That's such a basic portion of what AI can do. It yes, utilize that. That's what that's there. Instructors don't know how to quite deal with it. By and large, I have some instructors who have trouble putting on the camera to the constant videotape. And I said this to the faculty the other day. I said, I know some of you were teaching back in the days of acetates, with an overhead projector. I said, and then they came out with PowerPoint, and you took all your acetates and you put them on PowerPoint slides. And those are the same slides that you had 30 years ago that you're using today. I said, things are going to change. I said, that isn't how people learn. I said, with the advent of AI, we can create a much greater dynamic experience for the student in the classroom, one that builds curiosity, one that builds debate, so that the classes aren't spent with just shoveling a bunch of data inside of their brain, but can actually build collaboration, communication, and so that we can actually build a healthy caregiver rather than just somebody who's full of a bunch of data.
If I hear what you're saying correctly, the advances in the technology will help chiropractors be able to focus more on being humans and healers and less about all of the technical aspects and clinical aspects and documentation and all the things that require so much brain processing power. They forget to actually be the people and be present with the people that they're working with. And this should be a good advance for us moving forward in the future.
Well, the big thing that people say, well, I don't want technology because I'm going to detach myself from the patient, right? And truthfully, that has happened. That people spend more time here. I mean, you see people out to dinner at a restaurant, and you got people, they're not talking to each other, they're on their phone. As we've all done it, and it happens. But I believe that technology, when utilized as an appropriate tool, allow you the space to connect with people even better and have more intimate conversations and make deeper connection than you ever would be able to do, having to do all the other stuff to make stuff happen. So I'm very excited about what's going to be happening.
I take that as a sign that as the leader of the school, you are actively integrating, learning, and figuring out how to really be on the cutting edge of integrating technology into the school.
Oh yeah, I've mentioned to the cabinet, and I have a full buy-in of the cabinet. We're in the process of looking for somebody just to help this process, and it's going to be more than a person. It'll be a whole department of the school. Some to handle operational side, some to handle the training side for faculty, and some people to handle stuff for the students and teaching the students. Because we need to prepare our students of integrating that within their practices.
Well, let's set a vision. I'm curious, you were in practice for many decades, obviously had an ultra successful practice for a long time. If you were in practice knowing what you know, what's your vision on how students who graduate, who go into practice, what's sort of your vision of the future of what that looks like? What are they going to learn? How are they going to think about using technology? What would you do if you were in practice that you want to teach, I guess I'll say thousands of students in the future to think about, knowing it's going to evolve, but there is going to be a quantum shift of sorts that's going to be different in the future than the way we've ever done it in the past.
Yeah, that's a question that I don't have an answer to. Okay, the reason why is I'm not there, and a person graduating chiropractic school is at a very different place than I was, than you were.
Well, that's true.
So, and I don't know if I help them by telling them what they need to do in practice relative to AI, as much as how to think appropriately to make decisions. It's the same. I view it the same way as our students do not need to learn the details of running a business. They need to learn how to think like a business person. Okay. And that's what we need to give our students is how do you look through the lens of making a business decision? You're going to get the skills necessary. So in that same vein for technology, it's not about what technology or what it's going to be doing as much as how do you make the decisions and choices of how to integrate technology into your practice and how do you make those decisions? Okay. It's like somebody saying, well, what computer system should I get when I go into practice? What computer system you're going to get? You first got to figure out how do you want to care for people? What systems, what processes do you want to have in your office? Then you find the machine and the software that's going to support that system. You don't try to mold yourself to the machine. You allow the machine and the technology to mold to your needs. So you need to get clear on how do you want to take care of people? What information are you going to need and how are you going to process that information? And then you have technology support that. AI is going to be the same. So I want to give the students less the hand-holding of what decisions to make as much as how do you look at things from a standpoint of making my practice give the best service to my patients. Okay. What information do I want to support myself with so I can be the best connector to that person? Is that amazing?
Yeah, it does. There isn't, I don't think anybody has the answer at the moment. If they did, it would, like you said, it's going to change in months to come because the technology will. But what I'm hearing you say is that there is something distinctive. You've referred to, vitalistic chiropractors versus just a chiropractor. How do you describe the distinction? And I guess I'll sort of say there is going to be something different about a Life West grad because of what they learn through the culture that you create there that will soon have AI embedded throughout.
100%.
What's going to be sort of the takeaway, the strategic advantage that a Life West graduate will have? And I'll even speak to the chiropractors who are thinking about sending people to chiropractic school. Why would chiropractors want to send patients to Life West or other people they know to Life West to get this unique, I'll say, advantage of letting the technology do what the technology can do so you can do what only humans can do?
Well, I'm in process of creating a student-centric experience. And the way I define it is we have created chiropractic educational models around what skill set does a person need to have to be in practice. So originally it was this, you had to teach them how to adjust, right? So then you need to give them the anatomy and the physiology to be able to do that. Then states required, well, you need to be a primary caregiver. You got to make sure that the diagnosis know how to dedicate. So we just piled on stuff. So the person that had all this data smushed into their brain so they go past their boards and get out into practice. And nobody really sat in the seat of the student and said, okay, what's the best way to assimilate this data? Okay. And how do we best deliver the program so that in the process of going through chiropractic school, you don't feel as though you got the crap beaten out of you. Okay. That you're supported, not nurtured. Yeah, nurtured, not coddled, I guess would be the word. So you're nurtured through the process to be able to assimilate the experience so you graduate healthier than when you started school. Okay. And then you graduate as a competent, compassionate caregiver in the community, grounded in our philosophy and vitalistic truths, and competent in being able to analyze and adjust the spine. Okay. So that's the goal. I believe AI is going to allow me to deliver that experience better than ever before. It's going to organize and coordinate and categorize and collate all the data components of things that are there, so I can work at creating the human being, the being, not just the accumulation of cells and information, but this being that's going to be caring for other beings.
It'll soon be as I guess it's referred to, sort of an unconscious competency versus a conscious competency, because exactly we'll have, whether it's our meta glasses with AI speaking to us or whatever it is, the information will become the commodity. It's the connection that will become the value.
That's right. I mean, the AI will deal with information, but it's the chiropractor that's going to create the transformation.
What's your thought on the vision, I guess, of the future of healthcare in general? How is this ultimately going to be to our profession's advantage, as opposed to, lots of people are fearful. They hear AI, they think losing their job. They think AI and they think robots are going to take over. What are you most optimistic about?
Well, I think things are going to change. Change is good. I think people are going to feel more connected and grounded to the things that matter the most in their lives. The things that matter most is not information; it's human beings, it's life, it's connection, it's touching, it's holding, it's loving, it's building significance, and those are the things that we empower people on. Is what we do. Our basic philosophy says that you, in and of yourself, are perfect. That you're a perfect creation, and we're striving to be the greatest expression of that perfection that resides in life energy inside of our body through the nervous system by adjusting people. I believe that focus, that direction, will only become amplified. That the vitalistically minded chiropractor really can utilize AI to leverage it better than anything else, because your whole focus will be on building that. The data component of it, the informational side of things will get handled, and you'll create communication vehicles, patient experiences and practice. What I'm going to create during their time in chiropractic school is all going to be supportive of creating this vitalist and supporting that vitalistic idea inside of everybody. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be one of the greatest booms that we're going to see to this brand of chiropractic.
I completely agree with you. I can see from everything, as you mentioned, from learning about becoming a chiropractor to actually enrolling, to what you need to know before you go on campus. I guess there's question as to whether, there will be more remote learning with AI and how that will all work as time goes on.
That's an interesting piece, because we have a second campus now in Bellevue, Nebraska, just outside of Omaha. And there are some things that are done remotely. Like, we have a great instructor here. Though that instructor can deliver the program virtually there. But if we're going to use technology, I'm going to use technology. Students aren't going to sit in front of a 50-inch monitor in a classroom of 50 students. And so we could have a whole LED wall, so you can literally see the sweat in the instructor's face. So you want to see technique happening, you can be right where the force is getting delivered and see it happening. So if we're going to utilize remote learning, it's going to be better than life, if you will. The experience is going to be one that the person is immersed inside of the experience. So I'm on both sides. There's no reason why with the technology today that the person who's teaching has to be looking at a computer monitor with 50 pictures on there, when that face could be right in front of them, that there could be a camera in front of every student so they can see the person as though they were in that room.
And learners can learn at their own individual pace, because they can interact with their own individual, I guess, agent or teacher or whatever we call them in the future.
AI will be a personal coach. Yeah. You're having trouble learning something, the AI is right there to support you and get you through that process.
As we wind down, I guess let me give you an opportunity to sort of paint a vision for the future. What do you hope happens to humanity, to healthcare, to people? What do you hope to shepherd through the school, through the students, through the faculty, that's going to make the world a better place thanks to this new technology?
So I'm super excited, Jason, about the future. If you look at our world today, there's probably never been so much polarity that we can feel in the world. Oh, you're this or you're that. We judge people, and it's that aspect of our world that I think mirrors itself in everything. Healthcare being one of them. I believe that the whole essence of chiropractic is not about polarizing. It's about connection, integration, organization, and higher vibrational organization. There's more things that bind us together and strengthen us together. I think AI will help level the playing field in that. That we're going to allow people to recognize information is out there, and the information is not what life is about. What's about is connection. It's recognizing that the person in front of you, regardless of whether they're a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim, a Republican or a Democrat, that they're a human being. And every human being has the right to express the fullest potential that exists inside of that being. And what we're going to do is release that. And we're going to make the most competent, caring, compassionate chiropractors in the world to help elevate that direction. So building health, well-being, and vitality, and not just dealing with crisis care. I mean, the problem of our professions, we put ourselves in the same box as allopathic medicine. That we become another treatment modality. Instead of a surgery or a drug, we're utilizing manipulations. Chiropractic is so much more than that. It's about allowing the human body to fully express the inner potential that's there and allowing it to become healthier and stronger as time goes on. I believe AI is going to help launch us in that direction.
I completely agree with that. And thank you for that. As hopefully doctors are listening, learning, connecting, where would they go to learn more about what's the latest at Life West? And of course, if they want to send students to Life West, what's the best way for them to do that?
So two things I'm going to give you. One is go to lifewest.edu. Lifewest.edu is the website for Life Chiropractic College West. And there's loads of information on there. You can email us, connect with us through the website, get your loads of information. In terms of prospective students, we do discovery weekends 3 times a year on both of our campuses. It's a time that somebody can come and actually see, hear, feel, smell, taste, touch the experience of being a student. So we love that. We do an annual conference on both campuses, one, The Wave, in August in Hayward in Northern California. And we do the Nexus Conference the first weekend of February in Bellevue, Nebraska. So information is on the website on that. If you want to connect with me personally, it's my first initial P, last name Kevorkian, Kevorkian, at lifewest.edu. And you can get through the website as well. If you connect with me personally, send me an email. And I've created my own webpage that if people want personal information from me, I'll be happy to send you a link for that. And they can connect with me and stay up to date with all the great changes that are happening at Life West.
Outstanding. Thank you, Peter. Congratulations on your new appointment. You've got a huge responsibility and opportunity to make a massive difference. Anything that I or anybody watching can do, please let us all know. Great. Congratulations. Thanks for sharing your vision and your insights as to how you think that AI is going to affect our future education and profession. It's been a pleasure. I really appreciate it. Any final comments?
Have an amazing day. It's an honor to be here.
Right on. Good to see you, Peter. Hey, everyone. Thanks for watching this session of the Chiro AI Summit. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Consider VIP as your membership. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. Our next speaker is somebody all of us know, have heard of, have probably thanked and hugged for all the work that he's done for our profession. And that's Bharon Hoag, who has been running One Chiropractic now for several years, as well as the CDC. That's the Chiropractic Defense Council, CDC. Bharon has been working behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, everywhere you can imagine. I know you know who he is. He's the guy that's been behind a lot of political changes and things that have been happening to make sure that we protect those in our profession worldwide. If you haven't already, please make sure you listen to my good friend Bharon Hoag and all about One Chiropractic and the future of our chiropractic profession using AI. And if you haven't already, make sure you join one of our VIP programs that's right for you. Thanks for watching.
Hey, everybody. My name is Bharon Hoag. I'm Executive Director of One Chiropractic and the Chiropractic Defense Council. Excited to be a part of this summit. This topic of AI, artificial intelligence, has been obviously a conversation for a long time. And I want to start off my time with you to be very clear that I have watched way too many movies. And so I am scared to death about where this thing ends up. No matter what road we travel, this is going to end up with this artificial intelligence knowing that we're the problem. So I want to let you know I'm going into this kicking and screaming, but I'm by no means am I an expert. You've been listening to some of the most brilliant minds in our profession as it relates to artificial intelligence, people that have incorporated it into their software, people that are developing apps, people that are using it for a million different ways. My topic is going to be a little bit different. I want to talk to you what I'm seeing around the world as we're dealing with advocacy and defense issues for chiropractic all over the world. And just as a really quick, if you don't know who I am, this is a relatively new audience for our group. We are a nonprofit organization that advocates and defends the rights of practicing chiropractors all over the world. We take on projects like defending the rights of practicing chiropractors, specifically British Columbia, when they took away x-ray rights from those providers about 4 years ago. We're the group that's been funding and working with attorneys to get that fixed. We've been working in Australia with chiropractors related to pediatric issues, marketing issues, censorship issues. We deal with all over the world where there's overregulation or attacks directly on chiropractic. But we also do advocating where we're finding opportunities and avenues to expand access to chiropractic. Specifically, like here in the United States, we're working actively with state associations for animal chiropractic. It's a relatively new emerging specialty within our profession of more chiropractors that are starting to treat animals. And there's a lot of laws in a lot of areas where it leaves kind of a gap in the laws, if you will, on what the rights are for animal chiropractors. So we've been working with state associations carrying the majority of the load on getting that done. Our goal is to standardize the language for animal chiropractic in all 50 states. We also work with other organizations on insurance issues if there's targeting or largely left chiropractors out of what's going on in reimbursement and things like that. So those are the types of things we do. We are kind of your special forces type group within the profession to go and defend and advocate on behalf of this profession. We don't replace an organization. We work alongside just about every organization in our specific niche of legal and legislative. So that's kind of our initiative. That's our scope of what we're doing and why we do it. Now, what I want to talk with you about today, doing that, one of the big things that is coming up, we work with groups like Dr. Tony Ebel and his PX group, and we work in other countries where maybe the regulatory laws are very strict on what chiropractors can and can't say. So I want to talk to you a little bit about how AI can help you with telling the story of chiropractic without really fearful of any retribution or repercussions for what you're saying. One of our issues that we deal with when we're in an overregulated area is chiropractors just won't say anything. And part of the reason the world only knows us as back and neck doctors is because we've stopped telling the story about whole being health. And I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but there's been a book that's been published by Dr. Sherry McAllister. If that name sounds familiar to you, she is the president of the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress. But she just released a bestseller on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble, a number of different places. It's getting a lot of accolades right now, called Adjusted Reality. And it's a fantastic book that does a really, really good job of talking about the whole being of health and where chiropractic fits into that. If, we have little niches, some are going to say it's spine, some are going to say it's brain. But I love what this book does because it talks about the whole being health. And that's really where our niche is at, and what we need to be communicating as a profession is how what we do affects the entire being. It's not about a specific area. Yes, the brain is the control system. It is the fuse box, if you will, of what's going on in the body, and the adjustment's more powerful than just about anything on the planet at restoring that neuroplasticity in the brain. And the problem is when we start talking like this is not largely understood by the vast majority of the world, and therefore they automatically assume we're outside of our scope. And this has been the issue with marketing. How do we talk about what we do with children, for example, that have, sensory issues or neurodevelopment issues? How do we communicate to a public, letting them know that we're a viable option without really treading in that area where we're being told that we're outside of our scope. This is what silences so many chiropractors from speaking the truth, because they're fearful of retribution from their regulatory bodies, from another chiropractor, from another healthcare specialty, stating that we're making claims to that of effectiveness within our treatment. And so, because people don't really know where to tread, and no one's really going to tell you what you can say, your regulatory boards will not approve ads because they don't want any liability of them saying yes or no to anything. You can't get your state associations to do it because they don't want the liability of it, right? Your consulting companies may give you advice, but are they really vetting and understanding your unique area and what you're saying and what you're doing in your area, right? So there's so many variables associated with how do we communicate this message of chiropractic, but do it in a way that we're not putting a target on our back. So we do a lot of this work. So, I've painted the stage of really what's going on and maybe the problem, but now I want to talk to you a little bit about solutions. And this is where artificial intelligence comes in. Whether you want to use Chat GPT or any of the other, AI engines that exist out there, and I know there's some being built within the chiropractic profession as well, which I think is fantastic. But there's two reasons you want to use AI, and I'm sure you've already heard this. I haven't watched all of the presentations that are happening right now, but I need you to understand how AI actually works. AI is a sponge. The more people use it and put information into it, the more it cross-references with everything else that's been put in to generate a truth. So if we're not using AI, if we're not putting data into it, if we're not loading it full of information, then it's never going to really produce an output that is appropriate when other people are using it. And so it's really important that we're using it solely for the fact of putting information in there, because as you ask it a question and it gives you an answer and then you correct the answer, that's training it. Think of it as a child, that it's just a sponge to anything and everything that it's being told. And based on all of that information, it's generating its own version of reality. This is what's awesome about AI, but it's also what's very scary, because if we stay silent and we only let the drug companies put it in, and if you don't think at this point that they've hired hundreds of individuals just to be loading stuff in to the AI engines to ensure that when people are doing searches or asking questions, that it doesn't produce an answer that's more beneficial for those special interests, then you're crazy. But this is really a level playing field, because we have the opportunity to do the very same thing. So that's rule number one about why you want to start using AI, is you need to put that information in there. You need to put your spin. Especially if you are a specialist chiropractor, maybe an upper cervical, or maybe you use an energy technique, or whatever it is that you're doing in your particular niche of the world, we want to make sure that you're adding information in there, right? You need to be putting your truth into these engines so that it can take it and it can compare it to everything else it's learning. And where it finds the commonalities, it produces a really, really good product. So that's rule number one of why you want to be doing artificial intelligence in that area. But here's the power of it. And I'm going to show you a quick video of me going into Chat GPT and typing in how you can use it for marketing purposes. So I want you to watch this video, and then I'm going to come back to you and we're going to talk a little bit more about it afterwards. So watch this video. All right, so what you're seeing here is I just went to Google and I just typed in Chat GPT, and this is kind of the page that you go up to. So you can see in the middle here, it says, hello, how can I assist you today? So you can, if you're really this new, I don't want to insult anyone's intelligence, but if you're really new, and I'm a novice, please understand I've used Chat GPT like 15 times in my whole life. So I told you in the beginning, I am not an expert, but I want to show you how easy it is to use if you'll take the time to use it. So you can type anything in here. I actually, just the other day, I typed in something and I said, make it sound like Matthew McConaughey, and it rewrote it into a more of a comedic thing. I was actually the officiant at a wedding, and I wanted to write the wedding ceremony, but I wanted some humor. So I put in everything I had drafted, and I said, make it sound like Robin Williams. And so, you can do all kinds of crazy things with this, but let's narrow this into the specificity of marketing for chiropractic, right? So here's what you're going to see me type in here, right? So I'm typing in here, create a marketing ad for a chiropractic office showing the power of the adjustment without claiming any direct results. And here's the biggest issue that we're having with regulatory bodies, are chiropractors claiming results with their care. Now, it's asinine because you see drug companies do it all the time. I know this isn't about comparing and being fair. Please get that out of your mind. This isn't apples and apples. We are measured differently than they are, in large part because we are so widely misunderstood. We're going to be measured at a much stricter environment than any of these other healthcare fields. So just accept it. It is what it is, and it's going to be that way until we kind of get our stuff together and we start making a more relevant, stance, and we get more engaged with things like AI to make sure that we're a part of the conversation. But nonetheless, we want to make sure that we're not claiming direct stuff. And I mean this with respect, and of course, it's none of you watching this video now. I'm not talking about any of you, obviously. But we have chiropractors that have a hard time saying their own name. And then we want them to go out and market, and we want them to do things on their social media channels. And most of the time, these people that are not gifted at this, it's a problem because the things they say make it more difficult because they're not saying it well, and it creates more confusion. So this is where AI comes in. So all I did was type in this, create a marketing ad for a chiropractic office showing the power of the adjustment without any results. And then you just hit enter. And then here's what it comes up with. Right? So that quickly, it came up with this ad, right? It says, at name your chiropractic office. We believe in an incredible ability of the body to heal and thrive. Our skilled chiropractors provide gentle adjustments tailored to your unique needs, helping you achieve a balanced and harmonious state. Why choose us? Our holistic approach. We focus on the overall well-being and not just symptoms. Personalized care. Each adjustment is customized to support your journey. Expert team. Our experienced chiropractors are dedicated to your comfort and your health. Experience an uplifting atmosphere in our office where your wellness is our priority. Whether you're seeking relief, maintenance, we're here to guide you every step of the way, right? So let's say you do that and you're like, okay, you know what? That's a little too of a fluff piece for me. So here they give you options. Tell me more. You can have them expound upon it. You can say, what are the potential benefits of chiropractic mentioned in this ad? It'll go deeper and deeper and deeper for you to be able to do it. And then you can also put in AI because everything, it's just scouring the internet. You can put in there, make an ad that doesn't violate the rules of my particular state, right? So it at least gives you a place to start and the boundaries in which you are wanting to use it. So AI can be very helpful, specifically in the area of marketing, because it creates a little bit more well-known information. It's using terminology that's currently impactful in the world around us. It's relevant, and it helps you get that done. So hopefully this little video has shown you a little bit of how to use AI and how it can help you. All right, so that video just shows you just a very quick and easy way to be able to use AI specifically for the purposes of making sure that you have accurate information, that you're using the guidelines that are set forth in your particular environment. But, I want you to be careful though, right? Not everything in AI is going to be compliant, even if you say it, right? All it is it's scouring all the data that's available for it to come up with an answer to your question. It's not going to be admissible to court that, well, I used AI and it generated the ad, right? That's not, you can't use ignorance as a defense. But it is important that as we're generating this new world, you're going to have to be, match the level of the people around you, because there's someone in your community that's going to be using AI as well. So it makes it really easy to sound intelligent. And trust me, I'm saying that for myself. I'm not near as intelligent as I come across half the time, but I think it is important. AI is here. It's not going anywhere. You're not going to be able to hide from it. You're not going to be able to avoid it. It's being used in everything. Your phone is using AI now. All of your search engines online are using AI. So the sooner you just step up and say, okay, it's time to kind of play on those levels. And the more that I'm starting to incorporate it in my world, I am finding value in it. Now, it's scary. It's like all technology. I love my phone, but I hate that my phone has texting and email, because now I find myself doing work in times that I shouldn't be because I have access to it. So all technology needs to be balanced for sure. AI is going to have issues. There's going to be a fall. There's going to be, an issue of dependence on it. And then when it's gone, it's going to create an issue. So I take enough out of those movies for me to still be cautious as I'm going into it, but I can't deny its effectiveness and its reality and where we're going as a society. So I want you to listen to these other speakers, and I want you to hear where there's avenues that you can bring into your life, things that you can do to bring value and add a resource for you to be able to use AI to better your reach in your community. But I'm telling you, where it's helping me the most is with my terminology, my vocabulary, the things that are relevant in today's society. I'm old. I'm not hip like I used to be. I don't understand all the growing trends. AI helps to make that stuff relevant, right? You can even tell AI, make this ad appealing to 20-year-olds, and then it's going to use the terminology to do that. So, it's a little scary because AI is going to take the place of some experts, of some individuals that maybe have 30 years of experience in knowing how to do this stuff. AI is going to really outclass them, and it's free. So, there's some negative to this, I believe, and it's going to impact. It's kind of like what Walmart did to all of the local stores, or what Uber did to taxis. It's more convenient. We like it, but it did devastate industries in the process of the evolution. And that's what AI is going to do. We're seeing that. I think it was Amazon just fired 15,000 people because AI has just made a lot of the warehousing more efficient. And so there's going to be some of that. But what they can never take away are your hands. What they can never take away is your ability to interact with another human being immediately and produce a connection. But we can use this technology to help us communicate to people in other mediums and other forums. So I hope that you take the time and all the information that you're getting from this wonderful summit, that you're using it to better yourself and make yourself more relevant and more effective with your messaging in your community. Now, listen, if you want to come and be a part of our organization for $33 a month, we got your back. If anyone comes after you, we work alongside of your malpractice carriers. So we'll make sure that everything is being done in the up and up and that your rights are protected for speaking the truth of chiropractic. And we'll help guide you. We're a resource that you can send your stuff for us to review and make sure that you're not saying anything that happens. If you're a part of Dr. Ebo's PX, you can rest assured we've reviewed their material to make sure, although it's right at the line, that it's not crossing the line. Because we do need to start pushing. We do need to be bold. We do need to be aggressive in telling our story, because people are dying every single day because they don't know what we do works. And so I do want you having confidence moving forward. So if being connected to us, and for a small amount of money every month, you have knowing that you've got someone behind you that's going to protect you and support you, then do it. But I just want you doing something, and AI makes that a little bit more palatable, more comfortable for you to be able to move forward and make a difference. So, all right, guys, that's all I got for you today, man. You know where to find me. You can find us at onechiropractic.org. You can email us to contact us on those pages, goes right to me. We'll be happy to love and serve any way we can. And just know you have groups out there that are working very well with other organizations to ensure that our world is using chiropractic more appropriately, and that we can become the #1 healthcare choice in the world. All right, guys, we love you. God bless you. Thank you for spending some time with me today, and enjoy the rest of the summit.
If you want the best deals on products and services, along with some of the best speakers in chiropractic, you're going to want to register for our next summit coming up soon. Click on down below and register today.